What's up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video. Today, this is going to be a little bit of an open mic night. Open mic night. Y'all ain't doing shit. Oh, shit. All right, so yeah, I'm definitely checking that out. Ooh, yeah. Blacklist. Definitely checking that out. But anyway, it's a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of stuff happened this week, even with my stuff. You're gonna see me probably online even a lot more than I usually am, at least in the chats and stuff, because I had to do some of my managing stuff a little bit more from home than usual. That's something that's gonna be happening next week for me. So I'll be around. One thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to this coronavirus thing, people are talking about a lot of things. Shout out to Glenn Cameron, who's doing some commentary. I'm actually looking for BGS to do a little bit more commentary. Um, I was listening to Jason Black. I got to listen to Professor Black Truth, but the white supremacist angle of they're using shit to reorganize the society, which I'm not going to say it's completely not off the pale, but they're going to use it to reorganize the society just to fucking harm black people. I mean, I listened to that for like 30 minutes. I had to turn that shit off. I just can't get on board. I mean, it's not. I can't get on board with this shit. That will put motherfuckers act like the race war has commenced and shit like that. And I was like, okay, I can't get on board with that angle. Not right now. My thing, and we're gonna talk about a couple of other things, but one of the overall themes I want to have for this conversation today is really it's not about positivity for positivity's sake, but whether you're it doesn't yes, this is true for men more, but as an adult, it's very important to keep your eye on what the ball is. Yeah, good evening, Jasmine. What's up, Archer? I'm gonna put the link a little bit. Um, Actually, I need to get the link out. Get Give me a second. But yeah, it's really about really keeping your mind on what the ball is. Like a lot of times, and this is true in the manosphere, this is true in social media in general. It's like things are happening and they're like happening back to 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 back. And this has actually been more true. Um, this has actually been more true. Um, Let me see. You know, this year than it really has been. I mean, there's been something. It's just, hold on one second. That's somebody's. This is more true this year in more than any other year. I mean, just this quarter, really what you're dealing with today is March the 20th. We're going into March. Well, really, it's March. It's about to be March the 21st. We got what 9 more days, a little bit over a week into this will be the end of the quarter. Spring just happened yesterday. St. Patrick's Day happened. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going into, and this is an election year. Just so much shit, so much layers and layers upon shit. So if you're paying attention to stuff, decompress from it and really say, okay, what is it that I really want to do? What are some goals I really want to accomplish? What do I want to get done? And shout out, there's some of y'all that's really doing this shit. As far as working out, getting your shit together, stuff like that. And then maybe this kind of rains on some of those parades and stuff like that. But there's a lot of opportunity out there. One thing that Jason Black did say is he used to say something money after hours. We used to talk about you need to show your chick. I'm not saying you should do this. I'm just saying it's something he says. You should show your chick, some shit she ain't never seen, which is whatever. And he put this on a Facebook talk about like hotel prices have never been cheaper in certain areas because certain areas have been completely locked down. You know, there's things you can do now. It's probably like out of your range, but that just depends on if you were prepared because you've been really doing what you're supposed to be doing. So I'm not really going to talk about that. What I'm more going to talk about, and we're going to discuss a lot of stuff. This is like open mic night, but I really want to talk about the potential opportunities out there. Like there's a lot of opportunities for people to get focused, for people to make some money, for people to really, get out of the monotony of things and really use the chaos. Remember what they say pressure can either crush people, which it mostly does, but it also creates diamonds. What's up, Epic Empowerment? What's up, Mike B? Yeah, what's up, True Light? And for the most part, I ain't seen nobody doing a stream, so I'm gonna do a fucking stream. Y'all can come over here. So make sure you share this. Make sure you tag people, spread this out so we can get this up. Because other than the brother pill, it really ain't nothing, and that's only gonna be up for so long. Um, it's really a lot of opportunity to get some shit done. What I would say is, I would. I'm not saying. Yeah, I am gonna say this. When it comes to conspiracy shit, the tinfoil hat shit, whatever. But at the same time, this shit you can control, this shit you can't control. Let's keep it all the way real. When it comes to this quarantine shit, when it comes to this lockdown shit, when it comes down to this these bills, because I'm gonna talk a little bit of politics too. These bills that the Republicans and Democrats are passing, shit, you can't change shit. You can't do shit. As an individual, you can't change shit. You can't do shit. You can't pull shit together. Yeah, what's up, Bridget? Been a long time. Yeah, Bridget. Yeah, I wanted to just bring you over here so some of that shit I can let you know on here. But and yes, ladies are definitely welcome. They're always welcome. You know, whatever. But definitely on the channel. But this shit you can do and this shit you can't do. And what happens is people will get in front of the media and the news. And look, we do look, I'm not gonna act like look, I do this shit when it comes to the social dynamics between black men and black women. So I'm not gonna act like I don't put a lot more time into this shit than otherwise the investment is worth as far as I'm looking at it versus time versus money. So we all do it. This is not something I'm just gonna act like I'm just better than. But what I will say is it's very important to stay focused on what needs to be focused on. Even when it comes to Mr. Asshole Fountain that he wants to create lists and stuff. At the end of the day, man, that shit don't matter. I've looked at his website. His website's a piece of shit. It's some grammatical errors. This is somebody supposed to be educated, whatever. It doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, I have an open line as far as anybody want to come to my channel and talk to me. And for the most part, if it's fair, I have no problem going to somebody else's channel. And if we got to make it happen, there's people like O'Shea, there's people like BGS that we can definitely have a fair. There's third party mediators. Hell, you got now I believe the Prophet of Thought. You got people that can be third party mediators when it comes to debates. So now it's no fucking excuses. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, Bridget. That's actually a picture I took in the Philippines, and I got it and I animated it with a link. Yeah, Mike. I don't give a damn if he's bilingual. He thought, at the end of the day, he's a lot of things and not a lot of positive shit. But whatever. At the end of the day, because he put y'all on that list too, the Black Brain Trust. Y'all created the Black Brain Trust for the particular purpose of getting away from that bullshit. So, and y'all are probably the most probably educated group as far as in the manosphere, as far as like education, as far as that's what y'all project out there, as well as what y'all have. So, like I said, that will be kind of discussed, but at the end of the day, um, take this as an opportunity to actually make some shit happen that you otherwise couldn't make happen. Like for instance, I'm gonna probably have to work from home for the next couple of weeks. Like literally, I will be working from home. I mean, I kind of do a little bit, but I'm gonna be for real doing that, which means I'm gonna have access to certain things that I can constantly thoughts and stuff like that, and putting stuff together where I normally am in an office environment. I can't necessarily do that because they restrict what I can do and what I can go to. So I'm looking at thing even when it comes to even if y'all because everybody's at a different financial level when it comes to budgeting stuff like that. This is an opportunity to really get a lot of stuff done, a lot of discipline and some stuff. So that's the main thing I kind of wanted to start off with. Get that out of the fray. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump a little bit politics real quick, and then I'm gonna gather this link. Let's see the invite link. Then we're gonna do mm, get this thing started. So, so here's a couple of things for y'all that want to kind of hop on. So as far as what's going on where I'm at in North Carolina, you got to realize. So for the most part, it hasn't been a lot of corona. Like I think we're at like 136 cases where I am in this state. Virginia, outside of DC, hasn't really had a lot of stuff going on. Also, you have the added advantage of, luckily, Tennessee. So for the most part, we got a pretty good buffer where I'm at in North Carolina. Really the most coronavirus cases are like in New York, where they're saying New York has like a third of the cases. And I'm gonna keep it real with you. I don't think De Blasio is really up for it, to be completely honest with you. In my personal opinion, yeah, Jasmine, what state are you in? So there's that. I mean, we have a very broad, university network when it comes to research and stuff. So I'm sure there's some stuff on the low being dealt with when it comes to that. But other than that, for the most part, this state is really taking following the lead of other states who've done more stuff. So we make sure we continue to have like the a better position. And I think Virginia is kind of doing that as well. Okay, Houston. Okay, and that's not bad because Houston's the fourth largest city in the United States. Um, I would say the scariest thing to me, if I would call it that, would be the fact that you got people that's getting this shit, they're testing positive and they don't have any symptoms. So if they don't have any symptoms, you don't know what the fuck they're doing and they don't know. So that's the biggest thing I pull from like people that, you've gotten it. As far as the quarantine shit, I mean the good thing is, we're in a situation where people can still communicate without necessarily communicating out there. Um, and politically speaking, when you look at like just, I do think it's kind of a panic. I think it's kind of reached beyond this idea of, oh, it's just people being precautious. Because you had H1N1, and that's not me being tinfoil. That just is what it is. But at the end of the day, what are you gonna do? Another thing too is, another thing I would say is a big reason why it might be seen as a panic is because you have the political, you have all these elections, the election is going on. So nobody wants to be seen as somebody that's not doing the most. So this is creating kind of like an arms race of who can do the most. But at the same time, people are using this as an opportunity to kind of like rob the bank. You got like Mitch McConnell. This is a Republican, mind you. This is a Republican Senate leader, mind you. Mr. We can't pay for it. These motherfuckers are throwing out $1 trillion like it's somebody throwing out a stat or a rat. They talk about a trillion. Remember, the bailout was 800 million. So, um, and I'm in North Carolina where Richard Burr is, and Richard Burr is not running for reelection, but him selling off this stuff, so that might have an effect on the Senate race and stuff like that. Yeah, they haven't been talking about the false positives, epic empowerment, but so that there's that. Quite frankly, politically, Bernie is lost. It's over. It's just a matter of him trying to seed out, and it's probably him trying to negotiate as to him negotiating his surrender, trying to get some initiatives, trying to get, at first he was trying to get Medicare for all. Biden is not going for that because he's not that type of Democrat. So he's probably going to see some shit that he can get, maybe some Wall Street banks. That's what they're talking about behind the scenes. I know it. As far as Biden talking about he's going to pick a female. Pretty much, they're I don't see any other person but Elizabeth Warren. Nobody likes Kamala Harris. That's not going to be necessary to get the minority vote. Anyway, um, and nobody likes Kamala Harris. So I mean, she's going to repel people. Elizabeth Warren has kind of demonstrated that she can what a VP needs to be. She can do. She can campaign. She can hit who she needs to hit. She can hit them hard. She's obviously a woman, so she can play. She can at least shut down that crowd about not wanting women, at least in the Democratic Party. Although women that voted for Trump don't give a shit about that, but whatever. Um, and that's going to be the ticket. Now, whether that ticket defeats Trump, I don't. I still doubt it. I think it's a little bit more likely than it was moving in that direction, but I highly doubt it. At the end of the day, more people approve of how Trump has handled this than not. Has Trump truly handled this the way he should? I don't think so. But at the same time, people are used to his shit. So they're judging him on his own scale. They're not judging him on like a normal scale. Had Obama been in the White House, everybody be saying some shit. But because he's an old white man, the media coverage is going to be different. Even if they go at him hard, the media doesn't have the same credibility they once had as well. So at the same time, and then when you look at pretty much what the Republicans are doing with people getting checks and shit, that pretty much offsets the tax shit he did in the beginning of the year, which people didn't get as much tax returns. They're gonna probably forget about that. At least the people that can make the difference. So at the end of the day, it'll probably be Joe Biden. It'll probably be Elizabeth Warren versus Trump. Then you're gonna have whatever it is with the states, with the governors. Nobody's really winning this debate. Um, I don't see why the Democrats pretty much, they may lose some seats, but they'll still hold the House. They may get the Senate, but I don't think that I don't know. But shit, that shit don't even matter. Really, what matters is if Trump's in office or not, because that's who gets to pick the Supreme Court. And I'm not saying it matters. Like, I'm telling you, if he needs to be there or not be there, because at the end of the day, a vote for the Democratic Party is a vote for gay marriage, it's a vote for this matriarchy, gynocracy, it's a vote for misandry for black men, it's a vote for a lot of shit. Black men don't really win either or, so it's always the best of the worst of two evils. So as a black man, I mean, you look at the Democratic Party and look how radical they're getting, and then look at some of the stuff they're trying to put out there, and they're already setting up to try to put out there. When how you see Hollywood and shit is operating, it kind of has you thinking these motherfuckers can definitely wait 4 more years to see what they own. Yeah, but Mike V, hold on. Well, I mean, just because she suspended her campaign doesn't mean that I like I said, we're talking about VPs. As far as I'm talking about, Bernie Sanders is negotiating his surrender. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, Mike.
Yo, what did it do, Edward, man? What's going on?
Nothing much, man. It's like 28 days later in real life, so you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I might have missed that point that you were making about Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders as well. They're all finished. They're all just about finished anyway. So Elizabeth Warren couldn't win her own state.
Yeah,
That's a
she got
disaster.
embarrassed. She got embarrassed. Yeah, not only in that, I believe she's native Oklahoma.
Hmm.
So she lost that. She came in third, I think, in Massachusetts.
That's embarrassing. You know
Yeah,
why Biden won? Because Biden put boots on the ground. He was out there with the Stop and Shop employees during the strike because he's an old union guy. She ignored all that. She thought that she had Massachusetts in the bag.
yeah.
That was not the case. So she blew that whole entire thing. She should probably get out of office at this point. I don't think
Oh,
I
I
don't
don't,
think
I don't, I don't necessarily. I wouldn't go that far. I mean, Elizabeth Warren, she has leverage that is extremely unique. She honestly, what I said about her in the beginning is I get why she wants to. Well, this is before I knew her age. Now that I know her age, she
Mhm.
her okay. So her purpose of running for president is basically, I think she did for a second believe. I think people did gas her up to think she could win. And to be fair, I think she had the best chance of any of the women, especially outside of like a Hillary Clinton.
Mhm.
And I didn't know her and Hillary are pretty much the same age. I thought she was like 10 years younger until I actually checked. But Elizabeth Warren's advantage is she's not going to get, regardless of what Biden did, nobody's going to be able to go in there in Massachusetts and actually remove the Senate seat.
No. What I'm saying is, if Elizabeth Warren can't even capture the middle class white women in Massachusetts, it's already over. Biden got Maine, New Hampshire. So he's not, and Biden came in late. Biden didn't come in early; he came in late. She was in there from the very get go. So I'm just thinking that she doesn't really have the support that she thinks she has. It's a lot of it is pseudo support. It's a lot of lip service, but there's nothing at the ballot.
No, absolutely. I mean, the thing about it though is when it comes to, so here's the thing, when it comes to like in Massachusetts, if Biden is a better yank, Biden is a much better yank than Elizabeth Warren. He's much
Mhm.
more like, people consider him the third senator of Pennsylvania. He checks all the right boxes a lot of white folks are going to want to check, especially the northern, the like the deep north
Mhm.
whites. I mean, you see what he's doing with, even with states that Vermont should be really carrying in the north. He's just a better yank. He's got that Scranton thing. He just checks all the right boxes. The union shit, the corporations like him because he's out of Delaware and that's like the credit card state. So people really underestimate what he could bring to the table. You take Biden off the table and you look at what Elizabeth Warren brings. As a senator, she's nobody's gonna beat her in her state that's running from her state, like in her state. She's got that. She does have that enough control. So really, she can pretty much her running for president really allow her to get more known. Now you're right; it does kind of make her look bad, but at the same time, she's still going to have more clout than she otherwise would have had in the Senate. And if she ends up, let's say, getting tapped for the VP, because if she's in the Senate, she's definitely going to be a voice. With them females like Patty Murray and all them other white women, they've been skipping steps in the Senate because it's more women that's been winning in the Senate in the Democratic caucus. So probably what they'll do now. The only thing about her is no, that's it. I mean, she is probably the most logical choice for who would be a VP if you're going to pick a
No,
female.
no, she doesn't make a good VP. Let me disagree with you on that. She doesn't make
Okay.
a good VP because she doesn't have very good domestic policy, uh, you know, reach. She doesn't have very good reach in these areas. A lot of her ideas are very idealistic. They're not actually. They're not something that can be played out in real time. A lot, especially like student loans and stuff like that. You have to remember once people start digging into her history, they see how she really advanced. As a minority. Her mother told her she was a Native American Cherokee. Probably a Jeep Cherokee is probably the only thing as closest thing to a Cherokee she's ever gotten into. So the Native Americans on the ground here do not like her. A lot of people here don't like her. They don't really rock with her like that. And from a broad perspective, she's always in the limelight because the media is always in her face because she's a woman and she has something to say. But at the end of the day, a lot of her ideas are not going to translate into anything actionable. And so somebody like Kamala Harris is going to be easily tapped for VP because she's racially ambiguous and she's a woman. And so that's where it comes from for Biden. That
The question then becomes is like because I get what you're saying. I'm not saying she's the perfect person for it.
no,
I'm
no.
saying is at that point, who else? You got to compare her against everybody else. So if Biden's already stated he wants to pick a woman, so which other
Mhm.
women? Like she's definitely better than Kamala Harris.
No, she's politically better than Kamala Harris, but Kamala Harris is a better optic than
Well,
Elizabeth
it's an
Warren.
optic until she starts talking. Like the difference between like one of the reasons Kamala Harris's campaign fizzled like it did is to be fair, Kamala Harris listened. People, she wasn't talking. It was a whole bunch of people telling her what to say, and she didn't trust her own instincts. And she still wouldn't have got terribly far, but she would have got, in my opinion, a lot further than her listening to everybody. Kamala Harris is a product of the Democratic Party, meaning she literally is a mouthpiece for what they want to say. She really doesn't. Elizabeth Warren kind of brings her own personality to it. It's just it happens to be in alignment where a lot
Mhm.
of liberals are. But Kamala is definitely like whatever the party says comes out of her mouth, and it's obvious, and people
Yeah.
smell that fakeness. So that optic of a black woman, just that shit will get as far as that got with her campaign, which people see it didn't even get to the ballot. So and
Yeah,
plus,
yeah, because Tulsi Gabbard torpedoed her. That's the difference.
they would have. And then that's not going away. But even if that wouldn't have happened,
Mhm.
she would have flamed out before the rest of them would. Like she would have, if you look at other women like that was in the election, like Kirsten Gillibrand, you look at Tulsi Gabbard's not going to go in there because she's not. The Democrats are not going to let her get picked. Plus, she doesn't really help. Kirsten Gillibrand, she would be a good, but at the end of the day,
Mhm.
when you look at actually the campaigning, what actually has to happen, like what a
Mhm.
VP needs to do to try to get somebody elected, none of them other females demonstrate they can do enough that's worth pulling him out of the Senate and then risking a seat getting flipped. I mean, in Massachusetts, that's another thing. Even if she gets in there, you're pretty confident that you could put another person in there. That's a lot more than what it is in New York. Even though New York, you usually could win as well. So these are all calculations that people take. But
Mhm.
and so she's not. I mean, at the end of the day, I think they're gonna lose because at the end of the day, it's a party problem. The party is the issue. The
The party
party,
is fractured. Yeah, the party is fractured. Elizabeth Warren is just a female version of Bernie Sanders. That's how
yeah,
they see it.
and
That's
not
how
even as good of a version because folks went with Bernie versus Elizabeth Warren.
and if Elizabeth Warren wasn't there, Bernie would have had way more support because she they
That's
split
true.
they split
I
the
agree with
party.
that.
They split the party in that way. And she was never going to go anywhere. She just didn't have an American foreign policy agenda. She wasn't really worldly knowledgeable. She just wasn't there like that. She was just all over the place other than the fact that she's a white woman, right?
Yeah, well,
Coincidentally enough, she identifies as a Native American for whatever reason. You never, on the ground, none of the Native Americans ever had her, at their reservations, anything like that.
oh yeah,
So
and that's a weakness. Like I'm not gonna act like that. Like that's something that the Republicans are gonna have fun with because the Republicans, what they know now is they know okay, Trump, they have a baseline for what you see. The biggest thing when it came to Republicans with Trump is they did not know what to expect as far as how the populace react to him. They have a baseline with the first election, so they know how much they
mhm,
can lose. They know how what statistics typically do when it comes to incumbent presidents. They know what happens when things like this come up. That wartime shit is not by accident. Him saying that's I'm sure somebody put that in his to say that because they want to frame Republicans are much more better at framing the narratives than Democrats are, and that seems to not. Obama was like the one exception to that rule, and
mhm.
he's been the only exception to that rule. Maybe Bill Clinton was very good at doing that, but that's not something Democrats don't get those candidates often, and they're not they damn sure don't have them now. So the reality is they know how, like I said, to frame the narrative. So they and with Trump as a baseline, they know a certain amount of white women that did support him. More white women supported Trump than supported Mitt Romney. And now people are used to Trump shit. That's why I keep telling people nobody like you're used to it, so it doesn't bother you as much. So if he starts going after her for that Indian shit, I mean that's either true or that's not true. Well, you're a racist. Nobody cares because Trump will be like, oh, the blacks love me. Look at what I did. Look at my support.
No,
And
he just calls her Pocahontas.
yeah, and you can't and see he's kind of immune to that misogynistic part because for the demographic you're trying to pull, they already voted for him. The biggest
Mhm.
demographic that can hurt him would be white women. And by the way, the Democratic Party has not done a good job. They never chastised white women for really supporting Trump. They tried to blame it on the blacks. So they're not
Mhm.
even really honest about where they lost a lot of their people. What black people did
Mhm.
was stay home, but white women actually flipped.
Mhm.
And they went patriarchal as they often do. And Trump actually got more white female votes than other Republicans generally do. That's on some Bush getting Latin votes. In fact, that's more because white women are not really a minority, really. There's more
No,
white women than there are Latins.
right.
So, and that's where the Pennsylvania shit happened in the suburbs of Pennsylvania. That's also kind of pseudo how the Michigan thing happened. So when
Mhm.
you're looking at the map, you got to flip states like Michigan, Pennsylvania. You shouldn't have to pay attention to. Now you have to spend money there. Then you, then you also have to fucking worry about getting like a Florida and Ohio.
Mhm.
These are states that is not that easy winning. It's Trump seems to be a guy that kind of deals with like those white working class, and they have not just abandoned him, regardless of what people want to say about the economy. And Democrats just seem to be in denial of all of that shit. So they're just, yeah.
Well, what's interesting in 2016 when Hillary ran, she didn't find a minority. She found Tim Kaine as a partner, as a VP
That's
partner.
because nobody can't tell Hillary shit. Hillary's one of these people. She wanted to get somebody that would be in the Clinton. She wanted to get somebody they could control. Now, me personally, even though this didn't line up, I was like, if you want to get fucking Tim Kaine, you should have got a Terry McAuliffe, at least so you could have teed him up to maybe run 4 years later,
Right.
because I think he would have been actually a good candidate. Because he's kind of like a Biden-esque dude, except he's not really blue collar; he's more white collar. But he has all those other type of things. He's already showed he could win being governor, showing he
Mm-hmm.
actually helped black people get out of jail. So I'm not saying that. I'm saying he's got bona fides that he could lean on, which is a lot more than these other candidates do. He would have probably ran the floor with a lot of these candidates. Um, and let's be clear, the only reason Biden even is a factor is because these old niggas, these old black people saved the Biden.
Well, a lot of his support is coming from the Obama campaign. That's still lingering around. Those people still remember him.
Yeah, them old niggas.
Well, you still have Gen X's and stuff like that. That
Well, yeah, that's what I mean too. They getting put in them old nigga category too. I mean, I'm not saying I'm just and I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying it's those older people that they don't have really as much of the well, Obama didn't really do shit for us backlash. And my thing has always been I'm not I judge Obama by what he did with for other people. So when people say, oh well he couldn't do that because the white folks, I'm like, okay, say that about the alphabet community. There's a lot of things like look at actually what happened and then what didn't happen. But it ain't. But you're right. He is getting. He had. And by the way, Bernie even said that. He said that's why people are supporting him. But that's the advantage he has as a vice president. That's what you're going up against as a vice president. And really, the party. Honestly, the liberals are going to kind of pseudo. That's another advantage he has. Because even though Biden is not really liberal like that,
hmm
he's really a blue dog Democrat with a couple of liberal tendencies, but for the most part, the blue dog Democrat, he has the advantage of the liberals saying this is kind of the closest we're going to actually get to getting somebody in the White House. So that's why you see the whole party seemingly coalescing around Biden like that, because that's how they were supposed to do it, not try to run Bernie just off the rails like they did and create that bad will that they did last year, because that's really what fucked them up too. Honestly, Hillary should have picked Bernie. She should have did what she had to do to get Bernie, and she
No, they couldn't. They couldn't accept Bernie. They couldn't
I
accept
know
him.
they couldn't accept it, but like if it's like if you want to win or be right, that's why they got Kane because they want somebody that can control.
Well, yeah, yeah, but Kane, kind of contradicts the whole entire she supports minorities thing. And the thing is, her picking Bernie would seem logical, but the idea here, we're in a time where being a white male in politics is not it's not the business anymore,
No, well,
right?
you can't tell. You can't tell me. Maybe I see nothing but white males.
No, I'm
Maybe
saying, like Kamala Harris was married to this dude, and a lot of the optics of her posing as a quote unquote minority woman or a black woman, and you're with this white male. Yeah, not a good look. It's not a good look for optics. You'll
no.
notice that Tulsi Gabbard never really showed her husband like that. She always moved along in terms of the optics. She always moved along, and she's well spoken and well educated, but they could not stand. The party couldn't stand Tulsi. It wasn't the people. It was the party. So they kept her out of the media as much as possible, and she kept her man out of the media as well. And so that's the point that I'm making. Like she understood that part of the optics, not having her man in the spotlight actually played a significant role. Whereas Kamala Harris, that her dude was a boat anchor to her from an optic standpoint.
Well, yeah, because in Kamala Harris's mind, this is a sign of her status of who she is. And like I said, Kamala is a 92. And I got you, Super Trish. Kamala is a 92. She thinks like a 92, but she didn't
Mhm.
understand. It's not. Kamala ain't stupid. That's not what it is. What she thought is she trusted
Mhm.
the party. Because let's be clear, Kamala Harris honestly has no business being a senator in California. Like
No.
that's the party putting her up there. And quite frankly, really what black people need to do is they need to take that opportunity to put her in constant fear of being unelected if she doesn't do what the fuck we need because we'll vote for somebody else out of spite. But see, California Negroes ain't organized like that. So whatever. They just happy to have a face there.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, what's up, Super Triz, man? It's been a minute.
Trish, what it do? What it do?
What's going on, Edward Anderson? Going on, Mike V?
Show man.
Yeah, what's up?
Not much. I just decided to fire up a stream because it ain't really a lot of shit going on. These motherfuckers act like talking about some real shit. You got some, but yeah. So we'll move off from politics in a second. But I did want to talk about this because people ain't really been talking about this. They just been talking about the coronavirus and oh my god and blah blah blah.
Well,
It's,
So
it's,
so
it's a
what?
big it's a big distraction. I'm not trust me, I'm not discounting the validity
Mhm.
or the actual or the sheer magnitude of the COVID-19, aka the coronavirus, but um, we've allowed ourselves to be distracted, focusing on COVID-19 and disregarding other aspects of our life as though if life doesn't go on.
Mhm.
Um, Politics is a big factor, not only to how this quote unquote pandemic is being handled now, but for any future issue that may arise. The candidate that you put into office now will be at the helm to another uh, catastrophe befall the United States. So you have to remain involved in that political process uh, if you want to see your particular you know goals and aspirations realized. If you want to actually be a factor, you have to be a participant first and foremost.
Actually, this motherfucker Indian or some shit. Like,
Cool.
I see the red dot on his forehead. I don't know what that's about.
I know I'm racist,
No,
right? But
they're both Hawaiian from my understanding. So
so okay, maybe that's some Hawaiian shit.
Well, no, that's not Hawaiian. See the thing. Well, here's the thing. Like they could
I'm
actually
an ignorant
be
nigga.
they could be from Hawaii and still be Indian. Just like you got people on Fiji that are from India. They're not
yeah,
native Fiji people.
yeah. Well,
So
she
I don't
she
know what's going on.
yeah, she speaks the language. She seems to be very knowledgeable about the environment. I don't know. She never really. I think somebody posed a question and she just said, she's from Hawaii, so she's very.
See, and this is where that minority shit becomes bullshit. And I'm talking about from the Democratic Party. Here's the thing, man. When the way they shut down Tulsi Gabbard, that was dumb. Because number one, Tulsi Gabbard is she's the future of the party. As far as she's up and coming. Let me see what her age. She's up and coming, and this
She's
is why.
38.
Yeah. So this is why when the Democrats always ask, why do you when people say, okay, I look at this Democratic Party, number one, it's too many old motherfuckers. And it's like you don't have a deep bench. It's kind of like what the big three, but not as good as the big three tried to do with Miami Heat. They tried to have except they actually had a big three. It's like if you want to have a big three that ain't really a big three, but you ain't got no bench. The Republicans have a deep bench. They have like about three generations of people, like in the prior decades, that can replace the others.
Yeah, the grand old party,
The
the GOP.
Democrats don't have that right now. They don't. Once after these motherfuckers, because they're done. Elizabeth Warren's done because she's too old. Bernie's too old. These are last bus stop people. Hillary too old. Bloomberg was like fucking 74, whatever. Fuck. Hell, even Warren's like 71. They're old. Who else? Who else is coming up? Like, look at everybody. And so Tulsi, that's the only reason why Tulsi Gabbard even got as far as got to even where she could get on the panel. So what? You gonna get Klobuchar, fucking Pete Buttigieg? Are you a Kamala? I mean, yeah, like Kamala. If you whatever. The point is, Tulsi is like one, and it's not just her. I'll give you another female, and I'm not just talking about females. I'm talking about. Understand? These are not. It's who I want. These are motherfuckers. I'm saying if I was a party operative, what's her name? Kirsten Cinema. Her fucking name is. Yeah, this is another chick. She's like age. Yeah, she's 43. Like you look at these and you look at these women to see who they can target demographic. This is a chick that looks white but has some ethnic seasoning on her, which is what the Democrats obviously want because they want to be able to
They
say,
want they want a Latino. They want Latino. They want somebody that's black. That's what they want.
well, they're not. Well. Here's the problem with that. The problem is they want somebody that's black to get the black support, and somebody, and you're not going to get another Obama. Sorry, you're not. You're not even going to get
No,
another Colin
no,
Powell.
no. That's a
Sorry,
once
you're
in
not.
a life. That's a once in a lifetime, shot in the dark. But what I'm saying here is the movement is the Democratic movement is female now. It's female and it's minority. That's the way how they're looking at it.
Well, what a movement is supposed to be is to what fucking gets you elected. And the problem with the Democrats is the Democrats don't seem like they want to get elected. They
Mhm.
seem like what they want to do, and which is funny because the Republicans were supposed to have the minority problem, but really, when you really look at it, it looks like the Democrats don't even have anybody to take advantage of that. Like when you like so the more female you make it, the more you're just gonna push dudes to either opt out of voting, or they're gonna invest in another way, like for instance, investing money, or they're gonna go more Republican, which pretty much is gonna make it easier for Republicans when you should have had a built-in advantage because they're on the female shit. Because that shit more and more, like you're starting to hear people use terms like misandry and shit like that. Dudes are gonna start being like, okay, if I see nothing but bitches, and I'm gonna say it just like that, you know, they have made it very clear that they're about their interests. They're not about balance. They're about them. So why
Yeah.
should I support that? And they don't have enough to win. I mean, the women, because you think, oh, the party's about women. Well, women are not even voting for you like that. You have a lot of your women that are still voting Republican. You don't have like women that are like married to like Republicans that are voting Democrat. That's not how that works. But you do got women that are Democrat that are probably got husbands that are either independent or pseudo closet Republicans. You do
Yeah,
have that shit.
yeah. You have people who are on who are transient. Yeah. So the Democratic Party, in terms of gender, yeah, women talk really good about supporting, diversity and all of that. But when it came down to Elizabeth Warren and some of these other ones, yeah, they just did a lot of window shopping. They wasn't really ready to buy that yet. The only person in the Democratic Party who can really get that 100% support would be Michelle Obama. She has no interest in, or at least the future doesn't have her at the helm
Yeah,
anytime soon,
yeah.
right? So what I'm saying here is the black male vote is very, very important at this point because they need every ounce of support that they can get, and they're losing it every single presidential cycle. We know that Trump got more support than Mitt Romney did in 2016 than Romney did in 2012, right? We know that the black church is losing black men
Oh,
every single
they've
presidential
been
cycle,
losing black men. Yeah.
right? Yeah, they're losing them big time. We know that these guys are either going independent or they're going Republican, and they're leaving the Christian church and they're going to Islam or they're going atheist. That's a big problem. That's a demographic problem that Roland Martin did a whole piece on this a couple months ago. This is a big problem for the Democratic Party. They keep ignoring brothers, man. When you have women like Simone Sanders, Angela Rye going after brothers like Luke just for having an opinion, who asked him to have his opinion? Like, this sort of misandry is not really, it's not really good for the party.
Well, the thing about it is, black men have nothing to lose, and they have everything to lose. Like I keep saying this. I said, people say that I'm crazy because I say, you really understand that if Trump wins again, and let me put this shit up here because motherfuckers, we doing receipts today. What's her
Mm-hmm.
Supreme? What's her name on Supreme Court Justice? How does I put this? It'll come up. Liberal Supreme Court. I forget what her fucking name is. My mind is like parted right now. Where's her? Not Sonia Sotomayor. Ruth Bader. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Age. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is 87 years old. That means she'll be 91 by the time Trump gets out of office again. She's the oldest one. So, if Trump and the Republicans are slick, they be getting people to pseudo retire. They time it because they know they need to keep it there. They've already flipped too. See, they already flipped the one that goes both ways as far as liberal, the one that was in the middle that was selected by Bush one, and they've already flipped one seat. They flip her seat, removing abortion becomes on the table. And so when you talk about what you just said about the black male vote being important, if they don't, this ain't some shit where they can just wait 4 years. They need to fucking win. And by the way, she's already gotten hurt. She broke her ribs earlier. She's been in and out of hospital,
Yeah.
and everybody ain't Jimmy Carter. So if she were to die like what Justice Scalia did, and I'm not wishing nothing on nobody. I hope she lives to be 140. I really do. But shit happens. This coronavirus fucking happens, right? And it's targeting older people. You know what the fuck time it is, and it ain't no matter. Y'all already tried to impeach Trump. That shit don't matter. And you see McConnell. McConnell, y'all, it don't matter what Republicans gonna do. Republicans will do the 50+1. They will ram somebody in there. They do not give a fuck about what Democrats are saying. They will take the hit on the election knowing that they got somebody in the Supreme Court, and that shit. You wouldn't have gay marriage if you wouldn't have had the Supreme Court. Like, let's be honest, that shit was not getting in legislatively. So, and by the way, that shit can be dialed back too. You know,
Well,
go ahead.
no, I was just going to say that, the looming question that's been around the last couple of weeks, from a famous PhD candidate has been, um, can black men be allies to to, sisters who are feminists? Can
To
brothers be allies
oh hell no,
politically?
hell no, hell no, hell no.
Sucrose?
I'm a yeah. Go ahead. Hell no.
Man, I knew you was gonna try to put me in this.
I mean, I'll be the crazy one. I'll be the
Oh
crazy
my
one. Y'all remember that movie in the Dark Knight when the Joker set that whole big of money on fire? He said, and that dude was looking at him like, "How it's money? How could you let that money burn?" He said they need a special, a new. Gotham deserves a better form of criminal.
Hmm.
That's how I am with the black community. If the price of having a black community is having a gynocracy, we don't need a black community. It's overrated.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys think like me. They may not say it, but when it comes, but they act on it like on a low. And I'm the reasonable one. I'm the rational one. But at the end of the day, that goes against human nature. That goes against male nature. So if the price of having a black community is working with feminists and acknowledging that what they says matters, because most black feminism is built on some fake bullshit. Black feminism is really based on some bedrickery shit anyway. It's based on them wanting to be in the society as the society is constructed via a white supremacist way, but still want to hold on to being black. This is why a lot of your feminists are usually 92s. They're basically like Kamala Harris. They just want to be hugged up against white folks to be considered white. They accept this. This is what I mean when I say that, because I want to be very clear. Most black women accept the society as it is. They just don't like their place in it. What black feminism is about is for black women to amplify their own place in the society at the expense of other black people. This actually also includes traditional black women. They believe that they racism is actually not their problem. Their problem is their place within the society. They actually are okay with the society as constructed. So as far as that, unless you're a black male cuck, you cannot, by definition, accept that. It doesn't matter if you believe in interracially dating or not. You cannot, by definition, accept that. And that's, in my opinion, call yourself a black man. Call yourself a man. You're a cuck. But go ahead.
Well, well, Edward. So basically, what you're saying is that while you personally would never align yourself with the gynocracy, your previous statement admits that you are aware that certain men will.
Well, I mean, the certain men will, but here's the thing about a lot of black men. A lot of black men, they want to have this. They want to have their cake and eat it too. It's kind of like a white dude saying, "Okay, I accept that you fuck black men and you're gonna have the big black dick, but can you please not just throw it in my face and pretend?" Now, a woman may say and she may believe that logically she can do that because she's winning, but fundamentally, she'll start being sloppy about cheating because she'll lose respect for the dude. This is actually how the society is. The society doesn't have respect for black women. A big part of that is because of their treachery. White, and I'm not saying if they weren't doing that, and I'm talking about the black feminists in particular, that it would, they would all of a sudden have respect for him. But white, it's kind of like white people are kind of crazy about that. Like, I don't respect the snitch. And at the end, this is why, though, like a lot of your 92s are some of the unhappiest women. In fact, that's a question for y'all. Do y'all think, who y'all think is least happier? Lower class black women or your 92s?
Well, I mean, it's obviously when you look at pretty much any demographic, it's generally those people. Um, Not necessarily. Yeah, I guess you would say the 92s or maybe even the 89s.
Yeah.
Because somebody that's at the very bottom, their actual what they want out of life is going to be exceedingly different. So there's not going to be a very high bar that they set for themselves. But when you start rising, quote unquote, rising in the ranks, you begin to set bars that are exceedingly high, and especially when you're in the presence of your contemporaries and you see, the echelons that they've achieved, or not necessarily the echelons they've achieved, but what you perceive them to have achieved. Whether it be through through your own personal interactions or maybe a social media, and you just feel as though if they're at a certain level and like you don't feel as though if you're relevant unless you're at that level as well. So then you kill yourself trying to achieve something that may not be in the cards for you personally. And so I think that's the reason why you may find people who actually have at least something tangible are generally those who are less happy.
Yeah, and that's the thing in American society. But go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just going to say that it's an interesting question because I think they're trading or they're trauma bonding in a very specific way where some of these 92s were born into the middle class, right? They were already there to begin with. And so their struggle is based off of the 87 or the 85 for that matter, right? And then the 85s, 87s and whatnot are basing their, the collective success of Black women on to the 92s and the 100s. And so you see this sort of exchange of trauma and ideas where the success is always based on the 92, and then the 92 struggle is always based off of the 87. And so the misery seems to be very cyclical.
Misery, a Black woman story. Go ahead.
Yeah, everybody's leveraging someone's success and someone else's misery.
Well, part of the problem with that you find with like a lot of, I mean, I work with 92s. I mean, it's a lot of women that pretty much every woman that I work with, they all make six figures. They all a lot of own homes. Some own multiple homes here in Seattle. They drive nice cars, but they're still, because see, at the end of the day, a woman is defined by the man she's in proximity to.
Right.
And so just because a woman makes a lot of money, I mean, there's a physician that I work with. She got a couple things going on now. She's a physician. She makes a lot of money. She's been a physician for a while, but she's past the wall age. She's in her 40s. She has two young children. Single mom, two young children. No matter how much money she makes, she's reasonably attractive. She's slim. She's slender. But just the role that she serves to be successful in that 92 league, where you're talking about women with graduate degrees, women who work professional fields, maybe women who are entrepreneurs. In order to be successful and in order to be respected in those fields, a lot of times they feel like they have to either, maybe it's intrinsic, maybe it's something that they just adopt, but these alpha male characteristics. And while that lends a certain level of success in their respective fields, it is really repulsive to a lot of men.
Yeah.
And a lot of men, and so these women, they have everything, literally have everything, but the one thing that she really wants. And that's why a lot of these women are unhappy. They have everything except the one thing they really, really want.
Well, it's because, I mean, they have everything from a quote unquote American consumeristic standpoint. And by the way, I'm glad you said that, because that's what I'm talking about when I say that they buy into the system as is. They buy into it more than even white women do, because white women,
Not,
no,
go ahead, finish, please.
well, they buy into it more than even white women do. They buy into the shit as written on the surface, and then when they finally get there, they act like they're owed some shit. And it's like, okay, well, it's funny because they'll talk to Black men about that. I'm like, but number one, Black men didn't set you on that path. Number one, and number two, you want to act like Black men didn't give you that. So really, it's that white man you need to be talking to. But you're not gonna talk to him because you know what time it is. And by the way, and I'm gonna say this, and I'll pass on the mic. Motherfuckers want to talk about Black feminism. You're if you're going to operate on a black feminist agenda, then your conversation is not with black men. Your conversation is with the men that actually can control the society, which is white men. But see, they won't have that conversation because really they know they can't speak to them like that. They can't speak to them at all. Not like that. Not unless they're being told to talk. So even in that sense, they still buy into the patriarchal structure. They just don't buy into it from a, and they actually accept it more than white women because they accept their position. So when you look at, okay, what are you actually talking about when you talk about black feminism? This is where all this bullshit comes in because they have to make up shit that black men do because they don't have the same complaints that like white women have. Now, quite frankly, white women need to shut the fuck up too, but they don't have the same complaints because their men can't do the same thing to them that white men can do to white women. So it becomes this kind of exercise in like word salad and just straight bullshit because it's like them pretending to be white women. It's actually really funny to see me actually talk to them about it. But go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that because BWs are not in opposition to the actual system for what it is, the Western system, um, their ability to find satisfaction always falls short um, because it's all materialized. Whereas when you thought thinking about black men, BMs, the thing is, the system is always in opposition to BM. So black men have to be in opposition to the system, and because sisters are a part of the same system, or at least they support it at the surface level, there's an inability to find any sort of solidarity with them. And so the dissatisfaction that you may see from them comes from the fact that they're too coherent with the system. They're too coherent with the system for itself. And I think what you're starting to see with white women or WWs for that matter is that their dissatisfaction with the system is because WMs benefit greatly from the system, right? Disproportionate wealth distribution or non-distribution of the wealth that they achieve. We know that white women make 89 cents on the dollar to white men, and that they actually, and black women only make 59 cents on the dollar to white women. But see, that conversation doesn't happen because they're okay with the way the system is set up, just as long as black men are at the helm of it. And so the dissatisfaction is that they reach this certain point where they can only go so far up the ladder before before the ladder runs out. And so they can't keep looking up. They can only look down, and at the bottom of that ladder, who's holding that ladder has been brothers the whole entire time.
Well, and then what you have is that you have certain, certain demographics within the quote unquote community that, they accept that, they can't transcend that corporate ladder through that glass ceiling. Mm-hmm. So they align themselves with the entity that they feel they can, which is white men. So you have, the collection of quote unquote women who have wholeheartedly adopted swirling, and it personally, by no means am I upset about it. I mean, I really don't care either way. It really doesn't bother me at all. But I think that there are some women who feel as though if they should be able to stand on their own merits like men do. Mm-hmm. Not understanding that from a biological sense, even though as human beings we transcend certain, or we feel as though if we can transcend certain animalistic characteristics, we actually can't. There's just certain things that are hardwired into us, and just women occupy a certain role within the continuum, and the women that actually accept their role and actually embrace the power that is inherent to their role, because there is power in being a woman and being feminine. And the women that realize that are the ones that are truly happy, believe it or not. It's the ones that try to buck the system. And it's crazy because we had this conversation. Well, I didn't really have a conversation. I was kind of listening in. Gab had a stream earlier, and it kind of went off on a tangent, went off into the weeds. But at its inception, there was a discussion about a war, and one woman on the panel had drew parallels to war and murder, and obviously there was opposition. People tried to basically differentiate the type of killings that occurred during war and just murder. But at the end of the day, what you have is that all the heavy lifting has been done.
Mm-hmm.
And women have looked up, the smoke is cleared, the dust is settled, and like, hey, all the heavy lifting is done. So now I can do what I want to do. And so this is the reason why, if it was still heavy lifting, women gonna still be in a role of trying to be a woman. But now that the heavy lifting is done, now you can occupy the continuum and not actually have to do manual labor. You don't have to get sweaty and dirty. You don't have to, toil in the sun. Now you have women, stepping up to the plate and saying, now we want equal treatment, because, and then this is the reason why you have, they don't want firearms. You hear that from a lot of, feminist ideology, and they're staunch, opposers to war. And at the end of the day, you look at even on even the most simplest life forms. Let's just talk about animals. Animals, have conflicts themselves, and they don't have paper currency, so you can't blame it on money. There's something intrinsic that when opposing entities get within proximity to each other, there's bound to be conflict, even within your own body. That's what cancer is, actually warfare of your own body. You have your own cells produced by your own body.
Yep.
And then you have an actual conflict on a cellular level, because just their mere presence causes chaos, even if they're not necessarily doing anything. Because a lot of times you have cancerous cells that are undifferentiated. They don't actually do anything. They just occupy space. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they occupy space disrupts the homeostasis within your body. It unbalances the equilibrium.
Yeah.
So the fact, but again, women have an idealistic, view. And so that's the reason why a lot of times when you have spaces that are male dominated and you allow feminine energies to enter that space, then you have issues with, guys trying to align themselves with the woman just to be within proximity to them. And I guess by doing so, they compromise their integrity because they want to be in proximity to the woman. And so it just really changes the political spectrum. Edward spoke of, men aligning themselves or not wanting to align themselves with women. That's where I beg to differ, Edward. I think that slowly but surely, women are winning this quote unquote gender war just by attrition. Men are like, and I've said this before. On the surface, men may say one thing, but then go to their Instagram account, look at all the people they follow, and just by them following that person, now the person that they're following says, they can actually approach a product manufacturer, and they can say, listen, I could be your brand ambassador. Look how many people follow me. So you've empowered the very same force that you claim to be against. This is why you have this downward trajectory of America that's not going to be reversed anytime soon. Even with coronavirus, the trajectory is still downward. Mm-hmm. And you have to kind of look at the men that allow certain things to happen like that.
Well, the thing is, I was on the continent last week. Shout out to South Africa. Shout out to Joburg. They didn't have this problem over there. And what I noticed is that even though the women are working, they don't feel independent of men. They don't feel independent of Black men, for that matter. There's still a desire to build family and things like that. The idea of a baby mama is unheard of over there. It's unheard of for a woman to have 2 or 3 kids by 2 or 3 different men. It's unheard of for a woman to be highly, highly educated and not have anything else to show other than a degree. It's unheard of. Completely unheard of. And that was around some of the most 92 octane Africans I've ever seen in my life. So when I hear these, sort of, the commentary, I think we've taken on, the community have taken on a bastardized form of feminism, but have rebranded it to something else, and then tried to pass the buck and say, if you don't accept this, then you're against it. If you're not with the, if you're not against the terrorists, you're with them, right? That's how they're looking at brothers, man.
That's what females do, and that's because they're there because they come from in America. They come from an environment that's always taught them only good black man is a black man that they can control. If just like how again I say this all the time, if you to be an African American woman in America is to see black men through the eyes of white men. That's what it is. And other black men see other black men through the eyes of other black women, which they see that. That's how it goes. And people, a lot of people be thinking this shit gets said. It's funny because bringing up, and I'm gonna bring up his name. I don't give a fuck. Aaron Fontaine's bitch ass. You know, he wants to claim to be an academic, but he's not even talking to academics even within the manosphere, but he does the same thing. He's actually a perfect example of that. He's looking at black men through the eyes of basically black women. Because if you actually read his shit, his whole moniker is basically from the perspective of this is not good for black women. Well, who the fuck said it was good for black women? It automatically was good for black people. I mean, people just make that shit up like, okay, like it's funny and it's crazy because again, these are the narratives we go at. So yeah, a lot of black men definitely co-sign this shit on the low because again, black men worship pussy. And so when you going back to what you were saying with the specifically with the feminism thing, I mean, feminism just depends on it's balanced based on what your environment already is. So it goes so some people being feminist would be I don't want to have my mate assigned to me based on assigned marriage. But see again, now you gotta realize you're dealing with 6% of black people don't have a passport. So they ain't never been nowhere and never seen nothing outside of what that American TV box tells them to look at. So you're talking to people that don't even realize there's more black people in South America in Latin America than there is in America. So they don't, and I'm talking about black women. These are black. I'm talking about black women that are quote unquote educated. Because remember, most of them ain't been overseas either, or they haven't been outside the country either, and their fucking crews don't count. So they don't know nothing, even though they want to talk about they're educated. It just means they were trained in a specific skill set. Like Mike, you're educated. You're educated in tech. That doesn't mean you know how to be a fucking doctor if that's not what you've done. But you got people to think because they're educated, they think that they're in a class that means they're just generally smart. They have general knowledge, which that's not necessarily the case. But anyway,
yeah, that's very true. Not to even consider myself to be educated. I just there are certain things I know, certain things I don't. Like like on a Black Brain Trust, there's a lot of times they have you guys pretty consistently have a show. Mike V, Complex Design, Paul Bryant, Dr. Will, like the list goes on and on. I see the links every show. That don't mean I'm gonna click the link. Sometimes I got to sit in the audience and just listen. And that's what I do a lot of the time. A lot of the times, actually, like 99% of the time, I'm just listening. I'm not even on the panel. Yep. Because it's just certain things that I know, and and there's individuals that I won't mention. One of the individuals was on Gab's stream earlier, and there was some fireworks.
Did he think the Beetle had 4 doors?
Mike, you saw it? Did you see it, Mike?
No.
How did you know then? How did you know?
I just had a feeling, man.
Nah, you saw it. You had to see it, man.
He makes his way around, man.
Hey, he got on the pedal. Fireworks was sparking. I mean, as soon as he got on, but I mean, like that's an example of like sometimes it's just best to shut up. Just fall back, and just listen. Maybe you'll learn something at the very least. Maybe okay, even if you don't plan on learning something, don't disrupt the dialogue. Don't put out misinformation if you don't know what you're talking about. Like that's just something that I just can't get with. But some people just feel like they got to be heard, and that's just one of those things. I mean, we saw the example. We've seen an example many times, but I mean that example just happened earlier today, and I was just shaking my head. But it was funny because the people that was on the panel, they just said, fuck it, let's just let them talk. They let them talk, and then the person that would come after this other individual would just start talking like the person, like that individual didn't even say anything. Like, it'd be like, yeah. So, anyways, what I was saying was, it'd be like that. That'd be their comeback. So, anyways, what I was saying was, okay. So back to what I was saying, and it's like totally disregard what he was saying. But at the end of the day, it's just the point I'm trying to make is that sometimes you just got to leave it alone. Like if you don't know. If you're not knowledgeable on a subject, it's okay not to be knowledgeable. There's a lot of stuff that I'm not knowledgeable about, and that's okay, because it's impossible to be knowledgeable about everything. I mean, you could have a general knowledge about something, but you'll never be exceptional at one thing. Like the people that truly are truly remembered, they're the people who are exceptional at one thing. Like the people that are just that have, they're kind of like a jack of all trades. Nobody cares about them. Nobody cares. Like even to the point of being eccentric. You have somebody gifted, musician, but they're like eccentric. They're like actually like they're not a pleasure to be around. They're weird, quirky. Some of them have sexual deviancies, but they're still remembered. And that's the problem I find. I guess the big issue of contention now is that the advocacy of certain celebrities and certain influencers to speak on behalf of professionals in regards to the COVID-19, as though if that's the right course of action, you have somebody who doesn't really know anything trying to speak on something that there are actual. There's a scientific basis, scientific background for this particular virus. Like you can actually, quantify it specifically with certain nomenclature and verbiage that is generally accepted by the scientific community. You have somebody who's not knowledgeable, that just because they have an actual influence, you want them to speak on something at the expense of putting out misinformation.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you start to really see what social media was for. Is social media was for crowd control, and they're using celebrities and influencers in order to do that. And they get to just select what it is. That's why you see the same thing with Dwayne Wade. But you see, even your politicians, it would have been unheard of for your politicians to. It's one thing if you're dealing with somebody maybe like Chuck D. We're so fucking started with Chuck D. right now. They kind of established himself kind of in politics, but even that on a presidential level, I mean, you got the thing with Easy E and all that, but he was already president at that time. Whoever was already president, they weren't running a campaign. But you got motherfuckers actually reaching out to people like Cardi B, like fucking Cardi B, and actually think that shit was cool. Yeah, Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders actually tried to put he actually sat down with Cardi B. Now somebody like me is like you can't sit down with Dr. Claude Anderson, hell, Boyce Watkins, but you gonna sit down with a Cardi B. With her like that shit is crazy, and people don't actually think of how that could look overseas and whatever. Anyway, what I would say is going back to what Mike was saying as well as you, Super Triz, is what y'all were talking about with Super Triz. You were talking about people thinking they're a degree and they know shit, and what I was saying is this. What also you have to understand is it's important because people don't value what other people know, and what happens is women have this thing where they think they know best, and because that's what they were always taught. They were only taught to really heal to white men and other black women. But when it comes to black men, they automatically come in the gate thinking they know more, which is funny. And because they act like we don't either. If they're older, they're coming from a mother standpoint. Even if they're your same age, they really think because they're a black woman, they automatically know more than you. And I'm like, okay, are your outcomes indicative of what the fuck you talking about? Because y'all, whatever. And then the same thing is This is why black women develop contempt for a lot of black men because they have this thing about, like, for instance, let's get, like, I was just talking about this with a white dude. Is we were they were talking, and not about this shit, but we were talking about what I'm about to talk about. We were talking about the idea of what a high school counselor does. Now, we agreed that, high school counselor is an overworked job. It's not staffed like it needs to be. He mentioned it's like probably one of the most important jobs you can have in school because it's talk about people's futures, and I agree with that. But what he was also talking about, what I was talking about, was the fact that how they, if you're not, it's either you go to college or you're dumb. It's never you can go to military. You have all these trades like trucking, like tech now with the certifications now, which is a lot more prevalent than even when I was in school years ago. It's always you got to go to school. Now, and now that you've seen that these big corporations, they're saying they would rather have you be certified up with the proper references than you actually have a degree, because a certification is going to get you updated with what they need now. A degree is never 100% up to date. That's why you have to keep on getting educated. So, but a counselor is taught to basically say you either need to go to school, or when I say go to school, you either need to go to a 4-year school or you're fucked. Another thing too they don't talk about is they don't talk about what a lot of foreigners learn, and this is kind of one of those things that like black people may complain about, but that's not really the fault of people because it's about you taking advantage of the game as is. And I'm not saying taking advantage. I'm talking about the learning, not giving an advantage, but actually looking at what it is. Is when a lot of people, when they go to school, they'll be like, okay, I may not be able to afford to go to a 4-year degree, but I can go to a community school. Let's say if you're in California, California has 3 levels of college. They have their university system, they have their state system, then they have their tech system. So you can, and because all of those classes are transferable, you can actually get an education at a relatively low price and then go up to the other levels because you're only paying for 2 years versus paying for like 4 years at a university. You can do this like everywhere, but people don't think about that because people have this bright eyes look when it comes to a college equals a job. This is why, for instance, a lot of your black women are fucking so much in debt because rather than being smart, they were told that just showing up and getting and being in school, which is no matter what degree, will magically get them the outcome that they want. Because when we talk about these 92s, we're not talking about the ones that try to be a 92 and fail. These failed 92s that are really 89s, and then those be some of the most bitter ones. So I want y'all to speak up. So what happens is you got all these people in debt, and it's kind of fucked up because it is an abusive system. But at the same time, a lot of them are in debt because of what they decided to do based on what they were told was what was important. And this is why when motherfuckers keep talking about forgiving student loan debt and shit, that shit doesn't help me. It really doesn't. So I'm like, why should I give a fuck when I know the demographic that affects is not necessarily in my demographic? Not saying that I'm against it, but that's not something that's gonna have me vote for you because I'm not in that situation. You're gonna have to come with more than that shit. But anyway, I wanted to get y'all thoughts on that.
Well, school, the D1, D2, D3, D4, that's about prestige, and
Yeah, it's about class rank.
yeah, and for a lot of BWs, they identify academic achievement, corporate jobs, corporate careers as the two pillars, the two institutional pillars of class, and that they're trying to achieve, and they see the BM, the black male, as something that is not a part of that, not a part of that benchmark, and so that becomes the narrative, and that becomes the focus. And unfortunately, a lot of brothers don't really understand that part of the game. On the continent, it's not like that. It's the opposite. Family is more valuable than your education and all that stuff. So if you go to school and you don't bring back nothing for your family, you're shunned upon. That's why you see a lot of Nigerians who do come here. They may be here, but they're sending money back. Same thing with Haitians. They're sending money back because the money stretches. Especially in South Africa, the dollar, the South African, actually the dollar is 7-1 over there. And so the point that I'm making here is that the value of an education leads to a corporate opportunity, corporate career. That's seen as the acceptable path to that prestigious class, that middle class, that 92 octane position, and you can't run your community in a way where um, the black male is always subordinate to the BW, and that she's always going to be 92, and you just have to accept that you're just some bus driver. They tried to play this game with Obama, right? When the Obama campaign first started, they always talked about how Michelle was his boss. They made it seem like this guy was flipping burgers at McDonald's or Wendy's or something like that. He was this bus boy, and she, if it wasn't for her, he wouldn't be anywhere. This is the sort of narrative that is really being painted. That despite the fact of all of his achievements, it's null and void unless it's been validated by her.
Yeah, and what kills me is you got people that they really act like that they don't understand why somebody would reject that. That's
Yeah,
what kills me. What kills me is women really act like they're shocked, and some of them are full of shit, but some of them are genuinely they don't understand, and that's how you know how bad it actually is,
yeah.
and that's how you really know. Okay, this is not going to be something that can stand. It's either this shit is gonna I'm gonna take control of this on my terms and do what's in my best interest and then charge it to the game and then we play again. This is why I've always been about look, I fuck who I want, but when it comes to having a kid, I know what I want what my lineage to look like
Hmm.
and which my thing is as a black man, you need to think about that. Don't be no oops baby nigga. Too don't it's not better if you just fall in and just have a baby fall out with another race of bitch when you still don't have control of your situation. Because then you gonna wind up like a fucking Michael Strahan or some shit. Or these dudes that look goofy as hell. That's why I always say don't go red pill for black women, only remain blue pill for non-black women. But another way, this is another thing I'm going to angle this conversation at real quick, is I want to angle it to one of the big reasons why that is able to be the way that it is because this is why restricting the black male penis becomes so paramount because the matriarchy cannot thrive on a penis that escapes the plantation. It just can't because women have to have their sexual needs met. So this is why it becomes a very real threat for black. Even if you take the race off the table and you just deal with just black women, it becomes a very real threat for black men to trailblaze pipelines or ways for other black men that might have money and the opportunity to just walk through and get other women. If you know I can do this, and get a better female, why wouldn't you do it? Whether it's from the continent, whether it's Latin America, because if you're somebody that's in the upper class or even that you're in middle class and you have your shit together, you need a female that's going to be compliant that fits your needs as far as looks, obviously, but it's going to be compliant. You don't need a chick that, oh, I need a woman that's going to build with. When people always say that, they say that in partnership with. That's not what, and when they say partnership, they're really talking about 50-50. They're talking
Hmm.
about like on some lawyer shit where it's like Super Triz, Vincent, and Anderson or some shit like that. It's like no, 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 no. It's my name on the fucking wall, and you're not even a senior partner. You're a junior partner. So you're like that. They want their name. What they really want is their name on the wall, and then tell you you're a senior partner. When in actuality, you're really not. You're really that's how they want it to do. They want you in this position where you think you have more control, but they can always pull your whole card when they want to and then they actually believe they actually don't understand when super church or whoever talk about that ladder at the bottom they don't understand why that is what that is. That's why they don't know how to handle a guy like Robert Smith. That's why they really don't know how to handle a dude like the dude that creates Shea Moisture. They really don't know how to handle black men that don't need them. This is why when they always talk about marriage, they always frame it from a perspective of you need me because they don't know how to deal with a black relationship outside of that paradigm. So going back to my original point is black men that talk about traveling overseas. And it's not even about getting women. Even if you travel, because if you travel overseas, by definition, you're being around some different people. So that is implied. They see that as a very real threat because if you trailblaze that and you bring that into the Black American consciousness, intercultural dating, we're not even talking about changing race. We're just talking about intercultural dating. then now they have to compete, and they know they're not going to compete because they're not going to change how they are. And the competition shit is not just true for your strags, it's not just true for your fat black women, it's also true for your black women that want to lean on education. Because if that was true, they would get the dude that they could get. You got a lot of chicks like Lonnie Love that has these degrees, but at the end of the day, they don't want to change for how they look, not even for another white man. So, what are y'all thoughts about that?
I'm actually gonna take off because it's 1:15 on the East Coast. But thank you for having me on, man, and
Absolutely.
peace out.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And then I'll probably keep this going for like another hour, maybe. But Super Trish, what did you think about that? Because I know you definitely gone overseas. You definitely seen overseas. He should have answered that damn question, but he hopped off though. But
Well,
I guess when pussy calling, pussy calling. No.
here's my thing. I don't feel like black men or any men for that matter should ever feel like they have to answer to a woman for the activities that they engage in the United States and abroad. So if you go to Dominican Republic for the express intent and purposes of getting laid, that is perfectly fine. And you shouldn't have to cop a plea to a woman and say, oh well, I'm over here for business and I just happen to have found a woman. No, just say I went over there because I wanted some tail from a woman with that had long hair and whatever attribute you going over there for. You shouldn't have to make an excuse why you went over there.
I don't mean to cut you off. But I gotta say this real quick thing. Black men understand that if you're really attracted to a woman, or men in general have this concept of letting it out or clearing your head. They have this concept like I gotta fuck this bitch so I can, not give a fuck about this bitch. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is, you men act like they really don't understand the concept of black men. They don't understand that if you're, let's say you're solid performing black man or high performing black man. I'm talking about when it comes to getting shit done in business stuff like that. That you don't have this thing where you just need to just take a week and just get your head cleared, de-stress, get your brains fucked out shit. And you don't need all the in between shit of trying to chase a bitch, validate your manhood. It's like black men can't conceive of that option, and it's amazing to me because I'm like, this conversation is only a conversation with African American men, maybe a non like African men to a certain extent, or Caribbean to a certain extent. But when it comes to African American, they really cannot accept that concept. It's like every other man, like nigga, you are at the fucking bottom in America economically. Yeah, you can't understand this concept where everybody understands that concept. For you, pussy is not pussy if you not getting that bitch to subdue. And this is what makes it so funny. You are dealing with women that literally don't respect you as a group. And regardless if they want to fuck with you, they still see you as part of that group. But you still believe you subduing that bitch. So it just kills me because it's not even just women. You talk about answering the women. I mean, shit, it's the niggas. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, you have men, in this space who, they profess to be red pill, and if you're red pill, then you understand that what you're going overseas to get, women are getting every day here. The options, even for women that are repulsive within our community, right? Even the most repulsive women, the most unattractive women, has access to more penis than she can handle. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
And the fact that you know, they're able to get what they want. Have women that are going overseas to get penis, because you do have women going overseas to get penis. It's testament to the fact that women can never be satisfied. You will never ever make women happy. And what the problem is that there's groups that are not indigenous to American soil. There are groups of men who have realized this a long time ago, because they have intact culture that they can reference to. They understand that, listen, the trying to please women is not the way to go. As a man, you have to have an agenda and stick to your agenda regardless of whoever comes into your life. And this COVID-19 is just evidence that men don't have an agenda. You got people that are literally lost because everything is closed. They have no intrinsic purpose outside of seeking entertainment extrinsically. And that's sad. Like, just scroll through your timeline, IG, Facebook. People are just flustered and frustrated. They don't got nothing to do. They cannot be productive unless they're in some club or some bar, basically trying to get in proximity to women. They have no purpose. For me, it's business as usual. My only gripe is that the gyms are closed, so now I'm actually working out outside, and it's still cold out here, so I got to work out with a jacket on. But other than that, it's business as usual for me.
No, absolutely, and it's the same thing for me. It's just you have to, reorganize what you want to do, and there's some advantages to some shit that I want to do because I'm about to actually work from home for real. So I'm gonna have access to all my shit, and so you adjust and you know what you want to do. And I'm gonna answer your question, hard fork rich, in a second, but you're right, dudes don't know, and it exposes a lot. It exposes a lot of stuff. That's why I began this video with talking about what you need to take this as an opportunity. Crisis is an opportunity because crisis, for the most part, will pass, and it gives it motherfuckers. The government want to give motherfuckers a check. I know you in California, so that shit don't do shit. But there's people in certain zones where $1,000 can accelerate some shit. They got that extra G can kind of make something possible that wasn't possible. And or you can just pocket that money and then just use that to actually start creating a savings account. I'm lucky that the situation I'm in, I don't got to really worry about. I don't got to really worry about, as far as employment for the most part and shit like that. So, but going back to the overseas shit, like yeah, and it just kills me about dudes. Really, like it really bothers some black men as far as what motherfuckers are doing. Like it honestly bothers them. Like and that I've never. I'm like understood that. Like it bothers you what another dude is doing. Like, and I tell dudes this, and they always get mad, but it's true. I say, yo, this shit bothers you. Niggas going overseas bothers you wanting a dude being gay. Because if a dude,
Yeah,
like if
crazy.
yeah, like well, nigga, what he does, what he does with his penis is him, and I just don't want that shit around me. Okay, but they leave it at that because they know there's penalties in the alphabet community for saying some shit too loudly. But when it comes to this shit, oh, niggas get bucked. They get
Well, you
voice.
know what? I'm gonna tell you why, Edward. Whenever you're ready, let me know. I'm gonna tell
Yeah,
you why.
tell me why.
Let me tell you why. There was a specific pecking order, the status quo. When you're in the United States, right, there are certain attributes that allow you to resonate with the opposite sex, particularly women of the quote unquote ADOS FBA community. And a lot of these characteristics are intrinsic. I wouldn't even say intrinsic. They're biological in nature. It's not something, it's beyond, generally speaking, beyond your control. There are certain aspects that you can alter slightly, but certain characteristics resonate within the African American community. Let me go over some of them with you. Height, body build, hair texture, facial features. For some women, they lack a certain aura, whether it be, manipulated by the presence of tattoos, using certain slang, talking like you're stupid, just general stuff, sagging, like just certain things attract certain demographics of women's attention, right? And a lot of times, a lot of those characteristics, it's just either you're born with certain characteristics or you're not. Some of the modifiable characteristics are counterintuitive to someone, to a man of color attempting to climb the corporate ladder or attempting to interface with society at large. Because when you adopt those certain characteristics, and it presents a quote unquote glass ceiling to you. So you start adopting certain characteristics that allow you to interface with society at large, from a professional standpoint. And some of these characteristics will have you labeled as, being white or trying to be white, or being an Oreo. All these terms that have emanated from the quote unquote ADOS community. And so what happens is that the guys have become accustomed to this particular pecking order and the space that they occupy on that pecking order. And part of their interactions with other men, their contemporaries, is based on the women that they're able to get, and under the circumstance they're able to get them. So a man that have a certain woman, and they'll oftentimes lie about the circumstances in which they got them. And a lot of these guys is tricking and simping to get these women, but that's a whole nother story. But at any rate, these guys, their whole interface and interaction with other men is based on the women that they can get. They go to the barbershop, they have stories talking about, yeah, I got this, yeah, I fucked this bitch last night, blah, 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 showing pictures and blah, blah, blah. And so then it's like, they're actually their sexual exploits is not based on game like they want you to believe, because see, game is contingent on the woman's reverence for you. So you could say something that you think is game, but the woman is already attracted to you, so that's why it works. That's why it resonates with her. And so the same thing can be said by somebody else that the woman doesn't find as attractive, and he may even say it's slicker than you. But because she's not feeling them, it doesn't work. So that's why it's not game.
Yeah, it's pre-qualification. It's pre-qualification.
So yeah, you got to be pre-qualified. So then what happens is that you have these guys who occupied a certain space on that quote unquote pecking order. Now they go overseas. And now the guy who you used to sun around the way, and maybe you didn't sun him particularly, but you sun somebody like you. So when you see him, you think of the guy you used to sun. Now he in Dominican Republic, he in Colombia, he in the Philippines, he in Costa Rica, he in Brazil, and he would have echelon a chick you would never get in proximity to. He would chicks that like you've never even seen a chick that attractive, and he would have. And it's like you looking at that guy like, how the fuck this lame ass nigga get hurt, and you mad. Because now this guy, see a lot of men, their biggest hang up is women, and once they actually get the type of woman that they actually really want, because there's no such thing as an incel. I'll go into that later. Why I say there's no such thing as an incel, but once men actually get the type of woman they want, it's like it really brings a lot of men to life. That's why I encourage every man to go overseas. I don't care why you go. Just go. If you go over there just for sex, go. Because what happens is it gives a lot of men who never had it a certain amount of confidence. They're able to poke their chest out. And you got men on the internet now, they overseas, they talking reckless. And so you got these guys stuck back home and they mad than the motherfucker. They look at how this lame ass nigga get hurt. And he looking over at the chick he with, and he mad. That's the reason why they mad. Because the guy that used to sun now pulling better chicks than he can get. That's why they mad at guys going overseas.
Well, it's absolutely that. That pre-qualified. Here's the reason why I bring that shit up, and that's what you said is so important. Because the problem is, people would say, "Oh, well, you just a hater." Well, it's not about being just a hater. You have to really break down what is the value of what people are giving you when it comes to self-improvement. What is the actual tangible value of the information you're receiving? And if you don't understand I've been in many there's industries where there's a lot of bullshit that you can be gaslit on, that at the end of the day is nothing but bridges to nowhere, because nobody really is really wanting to give you what the fundamentals are in any field that's necessary for you to really understand, like, how is this taking me from point A to point B to where you can really assess the value. That's true for internet marketing. That's true for a lot of that's true for real estate. That's true for any industry. When you look at dating and mating, this concept of pre-qualification is something that a lot of your dating coaches lie about, because they want to artificially inflate your value. And I'm not even talking about just dating coaches. I'm talking about people and niggas in general that ain't even dating coaches. Like, for instance, take Derek Jackson, for example. The only reason why Derrick Jones can get away with what he gets away with and make as much money as he makes from women is because he's pre-qualified, and that's okay. But the point is, dudes will actually say that them being pre-qualified to females that, quite frankly, have not demonstrated that they know how to select men that creates the outcomes that they ultimately want. They actually think it's something. So what happens is you have a community that the sexual energy, it's like a negative reinforcement mechanism where it reinforces negative behaviors. It creates a community that everybody wants to try to play claim they don't want. So this is why you see a lot of black people that come to the conclusion that the only real thing you can do is just leave, because the culture keeps it literally gravitates you to stay in. It's literally like the Matrix. And you have people, and so when you hear a lot of your women, what your women are doing is they're complaining about the outcomes that they ultimately, make the decisions to have. And what you hear a lot of dudes when they're complaining about black men going overseas, it's all the shit that you said, but it's also this false sense of I'm better than this person. This is why they always try to big up the United States. I had this one dude, he was talking about, oh nigga, there's beautiful women in Oakland. So why you going? It's like he couldn't even. And I said, nigga, why do you care? And then he kept on saying he don't care. And I said, dude, do you understand? You sound just like a black female talking about a nigga dating interracially. You don't care, but you always got some shit in your mouth about it. It's the same shit they do. You always got some shit in your mouth about it, but you don't care. So nigga, why are you always had this thing where somebody needs to answer to you? For what? Who the fuck are you? And they can't really conceive of why that is. They can't like resonate those two like beliefs. But yeah, and now the other part you said too about going overseas to get your confidence, yeah, you should do that. Because a lot of these niggas, what they won't tell you is the only reason why these niggas got confidence is because now some of these dudes self improved their way into it, and congratulations to them. But most black men, what happens is they were pre qualified early. And I mean even before high school. They were pre qualified by, the women in their family early, and then that was reinforced with when they went to middle school and they went in high school. And then what happens is these niggas for the rest of their life, they get into what I call the sperm donor path. And then what happens is you got dudes that maybe they're what you call late bloomers because their combination of economics as well as physicality, whatever, does not reach a certain peak into a certain age. And now these women are trying to look at these dudes to deal with after they already been ran through by the other people. And the thing about it is they want to say, well, you're just mad. It's not about being just mad. The value is not the same. Now, another thing too is when you go overseas, your environment matters too, because your environment matters to the culture. So when you go overseas, you're dealing with a certain type of culture. A guy like Xanatos Clutch could probably clean up overseas just by definition. He's a light skinned dude, the 6 foot with a beard. It has nothing to do with him. It has everything to do with he's in a different environment that favors where he is. And that's what a lot of these other niggas don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about the fact that they're in environments that they happen to be at right place, right time, and they benefited from that. But now all of a sudden they want to call that game. All that bullshit gets lumped into this thing called game, where it can mean anything to anybody. And if anything can mean anything, that means it means everything. And if it means everything, that means it means nothing. And that's the shit that I always rail against because I know they a lot of these niggas are just being braggadocious as hell. And some people got valuable information, but a lot of these people be just straight full of shit. And they get mad because they want to make it about you. And and what's the first thing they try to do? They want to compare bitches because that's the only thing they know how to do. That's the only way they know how to show value is look at the bitches that I get. Anyway,
That's facts, because again, a lot of guys, their value is extrapolated by the company of women that they keep. And so once you actually are able to get, the quality of women or higher, a lot of times overseas you're getting a higher quality of women. In essence, now their value exceeds the men who are once above you. And they just can't wrap their heads around it.
well, they
They
don't want.
can't.
And what they don't understand is not about those dudes; it's about you. Because what that means is you're fucking gynocratic. It really you don't even understand that. You don't understand. You think because you fucking a bitch that you running the bitch. Just because you fuck a bitch, don't you able to fuck a bitch don't mean you're over her. You're a patriarch. At the end of the day, you're a means to an end to get that nut busted that she wants to get busted. That's it. Once you stop being that means to an end, and once you got that baby, what happens? You in child support court. All these niggas that bitch and cry about child support court, and they want to say that I'm unempathetic. These are the same niggas that will later on then tell me that I ain't shit because of the bitches they get. Look, and I'm not trying to start shit, but DeMarcus is actually a perfect example of that. DeMarcus went from telling me why am I unempathetic about his situation or a situation with men in general when it comes to child support, and then not next week his ass was talking about or Demoza, I don't know what his fucking name is, but not next week. This motherfucker was talking about how he get more bitches than me and all that. I'm like, nigga, you're the same. This is the shit. This is you don't understand how that shit doesn't resonate, and because I peep shit like that. And these are the same niggas. The same niggas that talk about the bitches they getting be the same niggas that expect dudes. Like, remember, it's more men that don't have kids than do like in Black America. So we're supposed to. I'm not saying the child support system is fucked up, and I'm not saying I'm an argument, but I'm definitely not going to knock off my priorities because of some situation you got. Or a lot of times the niggas that be getting the angriest be dudes that they be on child support. My point is, if you're on child support, I understand that, and I'm not trying to be an asshole about it. But what I am trying to say is, again, you know, you gotta kind of understand. I mean, first of all, there's ways around that, to kind of expose it. But it's this thing where like I'm supposed to not talk about what the fuck other brothers can do because you can't do it because you want child support. Now that wasn't Demoza, that was somebody else. But my point is, it kills me because it's like I don't know who the fuck is on child support. I don't know who the fuck this shit is. But that shit don't matter because they think shit is about a personal attack. So it's crazy, man. It really is because it just goes to show you. I mean, even when I'm looking at this Aaron Fountain shit, it's like this dude took the time to write 16 blog posts on some stalking bullshit about some motherfuckers that he could have just picked up the fucking phone, got on the stream, and engaged with, acting like motherfuckers don't want to talk, and these motherfuckers really trying to make it. They try to use the black woman card in order to attack. Kind of like when women try to use rape or pedophilia. It's like all y'all want to do is find a way to get in. But these are the same motherfuckers that will promote R. Kelly. These are the same motherfuckers that will promote Nicki Minaj. It's crazy, man. But yeah, you're right. As far as going overseas, you should definitely do it. It should be a rite of passage. You shouldn't worry. Like, first of all, the passport community is far larger than some random ass Negroes. They got an issue with it because even Jason Black has a problem with dudes traveling. Like they got, and I know what his agenda is. His agenda is want to keep black men here so they can identify with the struggle here. But it's like, dude, you gotta let people grow because then they can be better assets when they are here. Or niggas want to be what Dynas would say, Captain America Negroes, where they want to all of a sudden like suck the dick of the United States of America. Then they start sounding like blacks. So America's the greatest country in the world. They're like, we're not talking about expatriating. We're just talking about getting the fuck out of here for a little bit. Like, what the fuck is wrong with that? Shit.
Well,
Now, yeah.
I just my biggest thing, and I don't tell anybody how to run their stream or how to flow their dialogue, but I think a lot of times people get caught up from an emotional standpoint when presented with an opposing ideology, and it actually detracts from the conversation when you start getting emotional. And a lot of times you may be dealing with a troll whose only intent and purpose is to get you in an emotional state. And they'll focus on the fact that you became emotional or a comment you made while in an emotional state that was based on emotion, is not really based on an actual logical standpoint. But because you allowed yourself to get in an emotional state, now you get out of character. And it's not even necessary, because if it's something you truly believe in and you stand behind it with, you come from a place of validity, It's no need to even get emotional. A lot of times when you're having dialogue with people, if you give them enough rope, they're gonna hang themselves. That's all you got to do. Like you really have to. It's really not even a debate. Like the goal, like I say, there's no debate. A lot of times there isn't a debate, so you just let people talk. And so this guy, whatever his name is, that guy that put out that blog article, whatever, for all we know, he could have tried to get on the panel under a different name. He could have been in a chat under a different name. He could have actually been on a panel under a different name. Because a lot of times you get in these spaces and a person that comes with an opposing viewpoint, nobody lets them talk. Right, wrong, or indifferent. A lot of times they're silenced just by people over talking, and they never get a chance to actually put their point across. And they're not afforded the same I guess latitude as somebody who has an ideology that's generally accepted by the panel at large. And so then it kind of then the people were actually able to use that as example and say, look, see what happened when somebody has a difference of opinion, they don't let you talk. And so and a lot of times, you just let people talk and then you realize they don't even have anything to say. So you just let these people talk. Like even if they say something stupid, there's no basis in it. You just allow them to talk, let them say their piece, and you just come behind them and just dismantle everything they just said. It's real simple. Now, if you're not going to let them talk, if you're going to cut them off at every turn, don't even let them on a panel, because from the optics standpoint, we go back to optics. It's just not a good look. It almost looks like you were afraid of what they were going to say.
Yep. And a lot of dudes are like that. And like that's why a lot of times I let people talk. That's why when people always come at me, people say I'll cut people off. And yes, I'm not going to act like I don't do that. But for the most part, I do want people to get their say. Because I'm actually curious to see if they're going to say some shit that I haven't heard before. It ain't even on some let me get what it say so I can dismantle them. And a lot of times my question is from an honest place of, does this make sense? What you're saying? And a lot of times, yeah, you're right. A lot of people, they want to be heard, and it is, I don't know, because they do be on some angry shit. Because even with this argument shit, even when Ramil, for instance, he brought up the fact of something different than what a lot of dudes talk about when they go against overseas. He brought up the fact that he didn't like the fact that he felt like black men. It doesn't matter if it's valid or not, but this is what he said, and it was different. He said he didn't like the fact that black men were overtly talking about going overseas. So that was creating this anger in non black men that they're going to want to protect the asset that is their women. And I'm like, nigga, that shit is fantastical. And I presented the evidence, talk about black men in the military has been a representation of black men overseas for going back damn me 100 years. I mean, dude, what are you talking about? And then talking about it's not even that many people overseas, but y'all talking about it. And it gets to a point where he getting Kim 1, 2, 3 on it. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just gotta leave it to what the audience wants to think. But
I hate you even said his name. I'm not talking about Ramil. I'm talking about don't even say the other name you said other than Ramil. There's a name you said other than Ramil.
Yeah, I know who I said. Yeah.
I mean, well, that's an example of somebody. It's funny you brought it up because I saw that stream. That a very, very, very
popular he had YouTube O'Shea
sector had him on.
O'Shea.
Yeah.
He had him on. Shit, he had him on.
Yeah. And so
go ahead.
When I saw this guy, I had heard his name. You know what? And it was crazy because I heard his name, and at first I was thinking of that Asian guy that always talking shit about black people. And it was like, then I realized, it was a Mexican guy, because I knew there's an Asian guy and there's a Mexican guy that talks all this shit. But anyways, from my perspective, this is a guy who, like, he doesn't get any respect in his own community. I'm gonna break him down right now. This is a guy who gets no respect in his own community. The only way he can actually be heard, see, for some people, You may not be able to get respect, but you can definitely get attention. So the easiest way for him to get attention is go to another group and be a contrarian or just be an agitator of some sort. So he says inflammatory things about a community, right? That really, why, like if you're not from that community, you don't interface with that. I don't talk about the Hispanic community at
I
all.
really don't. Yeah, you don't. I mean, unless you
Like,
talk about some shit that touches us, you really, yeah, you right.
so you got to ask yourself, why would this guy specifically pick? See, for him, is low hanging fruit because he understands that the space that the quote unquote African American community occupies within the spectral continuum. And when I say spectral continuum, it has a lot of relevance here because for those people that don't know, when I say spectral continuum, I say that when you look at a spectrum of colors, right? You have one end of the spectrum, which would be indigo, right? Other end of the spectrum will be red, right? So as you go from indigo, you go to blue, then you go to green and yellow, yellow to orange, orange to red. That's a spectral order. So when you look at the actual the makeup of our society, even the world at large, there's a spectral continuum. At one end of the spectrum, it's been defined just by terminology. You look at a dictionary, you look at black and white, and you look at the words that are synonymous with black, evil, dark, dirty. You look at words that are synonymous with white, angelic, clean, pure, right? You automatically establish two polar opposites, two ends of the spectrum. So when you actually have races that are defined by those terminologies, you in essence create a spectral continuum. You have blacks on one end, whites on the other. You have all the other ethnic groups competing for their spot in between. And so because you have this spectral continuum, people are so focused on quote unquote white supremacy, but they ignore all the other groups who in their desire not to occupy the position that blacks currently occupy, they actually work in concert with quote unquote white supremacy. As a matter of fact, they may even pose a greater threat to blacks than white supremacy itself.
Yeah, I'd
But see, they don't think about that.
black women fit that category too. Even in the dot, but we're talking about race in this case. But yeah, but
So
you
so
and
you
with
have
yeah,
this spectral
Asians are
continuum.
perfect. Asians are a perfect example right now.
Exactly. Exactly. Because they feel as though if they're one step away from occupying that top spot. And so when you have somebody who understands the spectral continuum, because that's one thing he does get. He may not get a whole lot of things, but he gets that character that we're talking about. He understands the spectral continuum. He understands the space that we occupy. And he understands that other groups are fighting tooth and nail not to occupy that bottom rung of society. So when you pick if you're gonna pick a group to disparage, you can't go wrong by disparaging blacks because everyone will side with you because they don't want to be in that bottom spot. So they'll co-sign every negative thing you say about that particular group because it further fortifies their position not to be there. So from his perspective, he specifically and methodically chose a group to attack because he would get support from the group that probably ignored him in the first place. So now he probably gets at least some type of attention from his own group because previously he was irrelevant. Just look at him. You know that.
Yeah. Let me be. I don't mean to cut you off, but first of all, the attention he want, which is female attention, he's still not getting. That's why he talking shit. So a whole bunch of only thing he doing is attracting more dudes like him. Number one, which shout out to Latin dudes. Latin dudes are cool, but you got these dudes that they women ain't fucking with them, and they think they women should fuck with them just off the strength. I mean, they dealing with okay. So the difference between the white men in the day is white. Latins occupy kind of like what light skinned dudes occupy, but it's worse because they have this ego that a lot of light skinned dudes don't have as far as black light skinned dudes. So light skinned dudes are getting in where they fit in, and then they're fitting in pretty good. Versus black dudes, they believe that the Latin women they own just like white men, except they don't get those benefits like what white men get. So they're actually dealing with pride. Latin men are not dealing with the cuck shit, but they're dealing with shit where it's like worse. They're actually kind of dealing with the worst of both worlds in kind of a way. Not all of them, but the ones, especially the ones like him. So at the end of the day, nobody really was taking him seriously. It's only like O'Shea and Ramil had him on here. Cause Ramil had him on here just to create this narrative that he wanted to validate, talking about what the fuck he was talking about with black white men are angry. But here's the thing: you can pull any white man or any race of man that's gonna be like that. And so the question is, ask a motherfucker if they getting a whole bunch of women if they feel the same way. Ask them that. But
Yeah.
they won't say that. So you can pull any kind of beta, like, and I don't mean to use those terminology. You can pull any dude that ain't really hitting his own shit like that. He ain't even getting a lot of attention on YouTube and say that. That's true for white men. Like let's get so again, I respect Ramil because Ramil is a doer. But when it comes to some shit like that, I mean, I told him on his platform, and I'm gonna say it now, like that shit don't make sense. And what you're doing is saying, I'm gonna take my hand and bang it against the door, which a lot of times that serves him well, having that type of mentality. But in this particular conversation, it doesn't. He's kind of going a couple of parts, past the hill. Um, as far as O'Shea having him on here, O'Shea had him on there for controversy.
I know he did.
Yeah,
I know he did. And listen, and if O'Shea ever hear this, O'Shea, Duke Jackson, you ain't shit for having him on.
yeah, because a lot of times I don't be watching
You
all
ain't
that
shit.
shit. Yeah, I don't be watching that shit. It's like I know what he is. It's a white dude he have on there. Like when he white dude try to act black, but then want pseudo sneak in some racist shit. He's another dude. But he ain't been on Paul something. He ain't been on in a minute. So at the end of the day, these dudes, they just mad because they really are just mad because they in loser ass positions. And people could say that I'm dismissing them, but I say prove me that that's not the case.
But
Because
you know what's crazy though? Not to cut you off, Edward, but like when you look at
oh, I
somebody in this position,
you didn't hear
right?
me complaining about Aaron Hernandez being with a black chick. Go ahead.
The facts. But you look at somebody who occupies his space in the continuum, somebody a Hispanic male. Um, so Hispanic males occupy a unique position in that they lose women from through attrition on both ends of the spectrum.
Yep.
So you have a loss through black men, and you have a loss through white men. You have
And
a lot of
they also suffer from that 92 octane shit where they almost there because they liked. But go ahead.
yeah, and so it's, if you look at most Hispanic women who date quote unquote interracially are dating white men. Most Hispanic women. I mean, that's just
No,
statistics,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But it's funny that you have an individual who specifically targets. Again, I spoke of that spectrum continuum. You have to wonder why target African Americans, but when through attrition, most of your losses are through black men. I mean, through white men. Why target black men? Because you feel that as though if that you will be able to align yourself with groups that have alienated you because you've picked a target whom you feel is a mutual enemy shared by everyone. Because black men are villainized in society, you feel as though that's a soft target. I'm gonna go against black men because I don't get the backing that I feel I need to
And to be
bolster my
fair, a lot
position.
of black women do that shit too. And I'm not trying to bring it back to black women, but I'm just saying it's a lot of demographics that pull that bullshit. And they do it for all the same reasons. But go ahead.
Yep.
Now, as
Yeah.
far as now, here's another thing too. As far because and see that's the thing is because that's in their culture anyway. Because they don't even see dating white men as dating interracially. They see that as a come up. They see that
Yep.
as a come up anyway. So they don't even and that's that. So somebody would say that's why they don't consider that a law of attrition because they don't talk about white men because the goal is if you gonna do that you do it with white men because that's cleaning the race. A lot of them believe that. And see, the thing about it is, and this is somebody with Kim, I'm like, and this is where the shit gets on my nerves with O'Shea sometimes. It's like, if you gonna bring him on here, ain't nobody gonna really go close to home like that and say, dude, the only reason, nigga, you a rape, because the angle I would have took at him is I would have said you're a racist, and I would have made sure and I articulated why he's a racist and he's a bigot. And some of the point, like the point that you made, I would have made, but I also would have made the other point, which is the cleaning of the race. I was like, dude. And at the end of the day, what I also would have said is there's more black people in Latin America than it is in North America. So what are you saying? Are you saying that you don't want to dealing with black women that are Latin, or you don't want to deal with white? Like, what are you really saying? And I would have put it, but see, the problem with those panels a lot of times is you can't dudes take they let dudes off the hook by changing the conversation or making it somewhere else, and you can't really get that true line of questioning. It's kind of like being on a fucking news thing with a sound bite. You can't really get them like you want to.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's why a lot of them dudes will go on panels like that, because they can kind of switch up the conversation or flip the fucking table. But he, at the end of the day, he's a dude that he's upset because he's not getting the female he wants. He's pretty much what like a lot of them white dudes are. He ain't getting the females that he wants, so therefore he wants somebody to blame. It's just like how MGTOW was. I mean, that's all it really is. It's nothing special. It's nothing different. And at the end of the day, I mean, he's an obvious racist, and it is what it is. I mean, I don't care, because that's a personal problem. That's like me being short, and then I have an issue with tall motherfuckers, and I want to say, well, I just got an issue with black men because they typically. It's the same shit, and that's a personal problem.
Just real quick, Janice Vale is Edward's show. That's why Edward can cut me off whenever he wants to. Is his show.
Them niggas kill me. They be always making.
I mean, come on, man.
I be laughing, but
listen, you know what? If I feel like I had that much to say, I would start my own stream. You notice, Edward, how many times have you seen me start my own stream?
no, it's every once in a while.
Every once in a blue moon, man. It's like
You on Marcus Brown
like
status.
you said what?
You on Marcus Brown status, because he another one every once in a while.
Actually, Marcus Brown been doing it a little bit more frequently since he done. Well, he kind of stopped because he started doing the boot camp, but he got a couple channels. So I've caught Marcus Brown a couple times. So he actually does stream. You just got to catch him, and I don't think he keeps his streams up. That's another big issue.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. About this character, that's the reason why a lot of times, like somebody like that. Personally, I mean, if O'Shea bring him on the show, then I would have, you address him. But like somebody like that, I would have never brought him on my show. And I'm not, saying that O'Shea shouldn't have. But like personally, like somebody like that wouldn't even be on my radar. Like even if I saw a stream, like, because I actually personally. I look at a lot of content on YouTube, and from different genres, different aspects, different content creators. I look at stuff from the white manosphere. I look at some of these racists. There's some racists over. I don't know if he's in Philippines or Thailand. I'll browse in and check in and see what he's saying, just so I can get a general a feel of some of the sentiment, of some of the other groups. But. Like I don't comment in a chat. I don't even say anything. I just go and look. I see what they're saying. But other than that, that's it. Like I'm not giving them any steam. I'm not giving them any shine. Like I just see what they're up to, and that's it. And I just keep it moving. Because again, their whole purpose is to get you to a point where you become emotional. Like once you become emotional, they don't have to make a valid point anymore. Because from an optic standpoint, they're able to use that and say, see what I told you about see what I told you about those type of people? Look what they do. Am I lying? That's their only intent and purpose, is to get you emotional, to feed into that stereotype and say, see what those people do? See how they do? See why you can't trust? See why you can't have them anywhere? They don't know that. And really and truly, it's almost like you see these videos, these little video clips, right? And you see like some animal that bit somebody or lion that unsnapped, and but you don't. But see, the problem is that the videotape don't never catch the events preceding that. The fact that the animal was being bothered and pestered over and over again, and the animal finally snapped. All you see is the animal snap. And so, from your perspective, you think, oh, these animals are just wild and stuff like that. No, if you leave these animals the fuck alone, they're gonna leave you alone. Because what's more, who's stupid in that situation? The animal that's doing what animals do, or you that know what animals do and still provoke them? Like,
No,
I don't get it. Like, I just that type of guy. Like, he wouldn't even be on my radar. Like, for somebody
well, I mean,
have a conversation with.
O'Shea done cussed him out before, and that's where it comes full circle. What I'm talking about with the emotional thing, people, you got at the end of the day, you're accountable to what your position is, where you at, your outcomes, your quality of life. Motherfuckers will get on YouTube and try to project their bullshit on YouTube or try to live in a YouTube reality. I'm like, that shit ain't changing your shit. It's the same thing when motherfuckers want to talk about Donald Trump all the goddamn time. I try to talk about what's relevant, like what's relevant to me and what can affect me, but at the end of the day, and I'm not gonna lie, even when it comes to this shit, even with this shit, sometimes it's like what's been said has been said. People gonna do what people gonna do. Dudes gonna do what they gonna do, and then motherfuckers gonna pretend like they don't know why the fuck shit is happening. And I'm like, that is what it is. You go be the place you in. Even when because motherfuckers really getting on my ass about having Elise on, and talk about, oh, you let her talk. I said I didn't let her talk. I held every frame, everything I've ever said, but that doesn't mean I need to cut her off and act like an asshole all the fucking time. It gets to a point where how you treat people, and that's something that a lot of sisters be forgetting because they have their own like personal issues with black men, and they project it on any black men that'll be in proximity enough to listen to that shit. But when I deal with black women a lot more than what people would know on here. This is why when people try to say some of the shit they say with me, whether it's them calling me misogynistic or whatever, I laugh at that shit. But at the same time, facts are facts, and I'm not one of these niggas that because I'm trying to fuck a bitch, I let off of what the fuck I think. I don't do that. See, too many black men are on some. Well, I don't want to fuck up the pussy, so I'm gonna tell her what the fuck she wants to hear. You know.
Well, that's the whole concept of game. That's the reason why I'm against game in particular. Is because a lot of times the game is essentially you compromising yourself just to get in proximity to a woman. Like, you can't be your not necessarily your true self, but you can't really hold your position on certain topics because that would alienate you from women. So you basically, smooth things over and just say certain things or just ignore certain subjects altogether or just blatantly lie. A lot of it just blatant lies. Like, because, and I'm with you on that. Like, if I'm in having a dialogue with the woman, even in a public space, again, if what I'm saying is true, then it's gonna stand on its own. I don't have to cut her off. I don't gotta stop her from what her saying because I don't want to get specific, but there was a woman I was talking earlier today on someone's panel, and I would just listen to her talk, and I would just laugh it to myself because the shit she was saying was just plain silly, and the fact that she was allowed to talk allowed me to realize the shit she was saying was silly. That's it. But if you cut them off, then you can't tell if she was going to say something valid or not. I feel like you should just, hey, you just say what you say. The other person says what they say. And you let the people decide.
And then they try to hide behind the abuse too. They try to say, "Oh, you're abusing me," and then they try to act like they're a victim all of a sudden. That's another thing they like to do too. And a lot of these dudes don't realize that when they want to be real quick to cut motherfuckers off. I'm like, the audience needs to hear how dumb they are or what
Yep.
the fuck they saying. And y'all, like, that's a lot of times that's why I do what I do. Is not because I don't often get women to come on my panels and shit. So it's not like me getting thirsty about it. It's just you need to hear this and then hear how I uniquely respond to it. The open-ended question I'm asking, not the fact that I'm asking it's either this or that. I'm wanting to probe how they think, and then you're allowing to get an authentic version of what they think on an individual situation or topic. And they can't hide behind that. And a lot of times, a lot of them will feel like, okay, they were heard. And it's not, I'm not doing it because nefariously I'm trying to make them look stupid. That's not what it is. My thing is, I'm trying to show, look, shit is the way it is for a reason. And a lot of y'all don't understand how um, y'all individually contribute to it. Y'all like to act like y'all the victims of your own story, and you're really not. And it's not even about for black men that y'all understand that. It's for your own outcomes. So anyway, what's up, Archer?
How's it going, Edward?
Yeah, we'll probably do this another 30 minutes. But yeah, no, ain't not much. Talk. Coronavirus. We talking politics. You know how it is. These niggas are thirsty as fuck. Niggas, it probably be a whole bunch of baby booms because niggas ain't doing nothing but fucking anyway.
Hmm.
Ain't no babies coming from this side. I can tell you that right now. Like,
Yeah.
like I'm saying, like that's what I'm trying to tell cats. If you actually are a man on the a lot of these guys talk about they on their purpose and stuff like that. If you're actually on your purpose, like you say you are, shouldn't shit change? Like it should still be business as usual for you.
Yeah.
Like if you actually got a purpose,
Yeah.
like now your purpose changed because you don't have access to the same resources and same venues that you had access to before. Like my motivation is intrinsic. So it's not going to change because there's some type of calamity that's affecting society at large. I still have my trajectory.
Yo, Edward, can I ask you a question, bro?
Yeah.
How do you think this is going to affect just the overall black women's perception of the world?
Fuck. It ain't gonna change shit. I mean, well, I'll say this. It depends on how long it lasts.
Yeah.
But even if it lasts, let's say it lasts at 18 months number that they talking about. At the end of the day, people are gonna go back to who they are and what they are as soon as they have. Okay, this is what this is gonna prove. One of the things I've often said, I said back in the day, is I've said the reason why you can't hold no quarter when they come to the table, because at the end of the day, they're putting the bitch in hibernation mode, meaning or that black girl shit, the matriarch gynecologist in hibernation mode, and then they're gonna put on a mask. You see this with the get the bag chicks, the new femininity chicks, and what's gonna happen is as soon as they get to the advantage of being able to do what they're gonna do, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. It's the same thing when you get married and women get fat, they get comfortable, they do what they do. It's the same thing when the chick get a baby. I mean, you see that all the time. It's gonna be the same thing, but on a massive scale. But a lot of dudes, they want to go back on the plantation. That's really what it is. They want to go back, and you can't help them. They're gonna do what they're gonna do. But people want to believe that like this a situation like this is gonna make people reevaluate shit. No, that women don't change; they adjust. The only thing that's gonna really change something is if you deal with women that as they're being formatted, meaning like from like 15
Younger.
to 21, that they see a situation. So when they see these women are running into buzz saws all the goddamn time, and they say, "I don't want to be that because I want to be a chick that's winning." This is why you see so many women going to the hoe shit because at an early age, what is it? They say hoes are winning. Why? Because they see the easy money and the being bimbos. And we don't really associate, I know I'm jumping off topic, but we don't really associate black women being bimbos. But what do you think a thought is? And they're basically being bimbos, getting paid, and doing all that. And what happens? They never evolve out of that until they absolutely have to. And the vast majority of them don't. I've seen some do, but the vast majority of them don't. But to go back to your situation, your question, they're not. This ain't about to be no fucking change. You motherfuckers doing these pictures like, are women gonna get feminine? They gonna pretend. But black women have always known how to pretend. They've always known how to do what they need to do when they need to do it.
Yeah, but let me pick up. I black to answer that question I've been seeing around the manosphere. Are they going to get feminine? Black women can't get feminine for one simple reason: femininity and big size don't mix. So until they get small, they can't be feminine by default. But as far as the situation goes, I believe it's not quite there yet. But if it, even for the older ones, they may not change, but they're gonna have an old shit moment. Like, and then during that moment, they're gonna really like have a life flash before their eyes and realize all the times they fucked up. Now, when shit gets better, they're gonna revert back to the
Yeah.
bullshit, but they're still gonna have that old shit moment. I've done it
Well, yeah,
wrong this
they
whole
have,
time.
yeah. I mean, they have those. Well, even then, usually what they have, because you got to remember, well, even when some women, yeah, there's always going to be women that's going to do some shit. But for the most part, you got these females going gay. You got women that used to act like studs. Like if you like that one thing I always tell people: look at a before after picture of a female that used to be a stud, and look at how
Hmm.
she used to look, and you'd be amazed. This shit, a lot of these women actually look like decent looking women. And so they always want to switch up because they're not anchored to anything. So they can have an oh shit moment, but at the end of the day, they still gonna play. And here's the thing: it has nothing to do with niggas that they're opening up for wallets. They got niggas, even the niggas that they fucking. A lot of them niggas are fucking neutralized by pussy anyway. So they got them too. So at the end of the day, women, these females are like mercenaries. Depending on what their environment is, what face they're gonna show. It really is what it is. And this shit is just gonna be more long term. This is not no 2, 3, 4, 5 year type of process. If it was that, then I'd be saying something different. But this shit is even if it is 18 months, it's like worst case scenario. I mean, at the end of the day, women are just gonna start hoeing more, if anything.
Yeah,
I mean, that's all
yeah.
it, which they already are kind of doing it. It's just going to become more and more official, and people won't stop playing like it ain't happening. That's the only because people are already damn near doing it. So,
Well,
yeah,
Well, I mean, there's two dynamics to the hoeing thing because as this situation goes on, I believe people think the simping's going to continue, but as people lose their jobs, the simping is actually going to slow down because there's not going to be that much money flowing. It's like the simp economy is going to come to a grinding stop, and some of these women are going to have to basically retire before their time. They're going to go. They're going to try to do that Michael Jordan retirement where they retire and then try to come back later.
no, they'll
But
probably lower their price, but it
yeah,
depends. Some of them will retire. It depends on what their age is. Like the chicks that are like 40 plus, yeah, but cause they need to retire anyway. But it's great. I mean, I really don't read too much into all of that. When it comes to all that, 'cause I think people are putting too much like this earth shattering moment where everything is just gonna be reorganized, and that's yet to be seen. Yeah,
Well, here's the problem.
I'm just saying I don't know.
Here's the problem. The real question that should be asked is if black women come back to the table, will black men join them? See, you have a lot of guys who are just waiting for any little bit of glimmer of hope. They're not even really waiting for femininity. They're just waiting for acceptance
mhm.
because the woman can still be unfeminine, but as long as she allows you access, then you're willing to take her as she is. And that's the big issue that I have with men. That's what I've said on my streams to black men actually need to raise their standards even higher. Because a lot of times the response is, to a tough market is to lower your standards.
Well, I mean,
Acquiesce.
Wait, what are you talking about? Raise their standards even higher? Higher from what? Our standards are beneath the floor. Like, what do you mean?
well,
Can you elaborate on
but
Well,
that?
that's why
so that's evidence that there's lots of room to raise your standards.
because time out because Archer, what he's saying is you just said that black men's standards are beneath the floor, correct?
Yes, sir.
Even though they're but see, you say that statement like black men's standard can't go lower, like it's impossible. There is no rock bottom when it comes to a black man's standard. I mean, seriously, this is why you get dudes getting caught up like that bitch. Remember that chick that she ain't even a chick. I'm mad at myself for even saying that, but that transgender person that was on the network, and she was the one chick that looked like a woman versus the other two women. This
Yo,
person got somebody with a baby. That's a baby that has a baby like a dude because he don't
yo,
you are huh?
Edward. Hate to interrupt you, but I've noticed that I'm seeing a couple. Like, I'm running into people that I thought was girls, and they turn out to be transgenders. Like, bro, you looked more girly than the three girls next to you.
Yeah, and that's
What the fuck?
Yeah, and that's that transsexual energy that Jap is talking about. That's why I'm like, yo, that's some real shit. And that's and that's a commentary on your women. You know, I mean what else can you really say? I mean, you can't say any. It's just there, and that's some shit that's damn only unique. That's unique to the ADOS black community.
Yeah,
So I'm glad you validated it because people be like, "Oh, well, Alan's on some shit." But the point is, um, because dudes don't have no anchor to nothing when it comes to that. They really don't. So
they don't.
yeah, so that's why he's saying that because
I mean, and it's just frustrating because every time you see I'm not gonna say every time, but every time you see a transgender who you can actually genuinely confuse as a girl, he's never fat, and you look and you're thinking in your head like, damn, like you really to get with like to even talk to girls nowadays who have some like you actually got to start checking the under the hood. Like I thought it was funny when they were talking about that checking under the hood shit, but like recently, I've been like, yeah, I gotta check under the fucking hood. This is actually a thorough,
yeah,
thorough check.
it's almost it's not nowhere near this bad, but it's almost like checking IDs. If you somebody like to deal with younger women like 22, 21, and shit like that, which I usually don't. I'm not saying nothing is wrong to go that young, but
Oh, I do
usually
no shame. I'm not
Well,
scared.
I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is that's an issue I don't even feel like dealing with. But when you do that, you do got one thing you need to do is check out these bitches be lying.
Yeah,
Nobody cares. It's the same thing with that. Dudes be getting caught up, and that's assuming people ain't trying to set you up too. But see, you got to
yeah.
be a certain type of goofy nigga to be set up like that. And that's why you see. But here's the thing: you got Malik Yoba actually sitting there like, yeah, man, I'm attracted to the female aesthetic. And then, I mean, this nigga was really on the Breakfast Club trying to sell that shit. And then you had what's the dude? You had Tank talk about just because you go down like once or twice, that don't make you go. I mean, these niggas be really coming out
Wait,
the
what?
yeah, go look at that. You remember that Super Triz?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't follow that. I don't
All
follow
kind
that
of weird stuff
celebrity
going on.
shit.
Nigga,
But yeah,
I don't look at like I look Jada Black. I was listening to Jada Black, and that's why because he covered that shit when it because I don't watch the Breakfast Club, and Tank really said that shit, and I mean he really said that shit with a straight fucking face. He really and Malik Yoba said what the fuck he said with a straight fucking face.
what did he say? If somebody goes down on him once or twice, or if he goes down,
It don't matter. It
it
don't
really don't.
matter.
Yeah, it don't. But still, at the same time, like,
Well, see now
was he like
now
specific about it, or was he
you have
like,
he basically it wasn't that he initiated that, but somebody was saying something, and then he said, "Well, just because you experiment once or twice, that don't make you gay." And that's the example that he used. And I'm
well,
like,
wanting to experiment makes you bi. Wanting to experiment makes you bi, which in essence makes you fucking
yeah,
gay.
on
But
channel,
the gayness comes from the curiosity.
yeah,
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 like even if you think it, like from personally, I think like even if you kind of having thoughts, like even if you never do anything, just the thought itself that makes you
Gay.
yeah.
The
So
curiosity in itself, the wondering in itself is gay as fuck. So there's no, you can never do it, but if you're always having a thought about it, you're gay.
well, I mean, you're not gonna tell me that people are in this, not in this era. That may have been true like pre 1990, but now in this era, post Obama, if you haven't thought, you acted on them one way or the other. You may not be open
Yeah.
about it, but you acted on them. Like you got more.
well, there who's that? Who's that? Is it like a senator or a mayor or somebody? What's his name? Is it Andrew Bynum or
No,
Andrew?
it's not Bynum.
No, Andrew
Gilliam.
Gilliam. See,
Who's Andrew Bynum? Who's Andrew Bynum?
Andrew Bynum, basketball player.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Lakers. That's fine. But Gilliam, you talk about Gilliam, the dude that got caught up with some meth and oil.
But apparently, I think the police officers took pictures, and so they threatened him to release the pictures that they took.
Oh yeah, he's black, so it is game on. It's like
No,
he
they took pictures of him with the dude. I guess when they came in an apartment or something like that, or I don't know if it's apartment or
Was it a
hotel.
body cam or was they just coming there flashing?
I don't know. What they somehow there's some pictures that are that are I kind of being like used as I don't know extort or I don't know what their angle is, but there's some pictures that are threatening to be released of him and this.
that's sad because even because
Oh my goodness!
no, because that's a waste. Because if somebody was a Democratic operative, you're like you understand that this dude barely DeSantos barely beat him. So this is a dude that could potentially run for senator. He was young enough where he could have ran again later on. They probably wouldn't have ran him again for governor. Well, here's the thing: in California, in Florida, they really don't be giving a fuck. They don't really be running to win in Florida like that. So, but they could have ran him for other offices. So that's like a waste. But
Well, they might have, they might. I don't want to be like no conspiracy theorist, but I could easily see like there be like an attempt to set him up by like just even, you know, placing somebody in proximity to him that they knew that they knew he would go for it, and and just get him in
but
that situation.
but I saw him even with the campaign. He a nigga that's a little bit too comfortable around white dudes. He one of them niggas, them goofy ass niggas that like he'll believe anything they be fucking saying. You know how these white dudes are. Come on, man, come on. You don't want to be like them other niggas, right? Like they'll imply that shit.
Yeah,
And I'd be like, well, I guess I'm gonna be like them. I don't go for peer pressure. Like even that coy undercover bullshit they be trying to do, which they imply a lot of it. Yeah, I'd be like, nah, y'all can kiss my ass. I'm gonna be a nigga today. Um, but they be doing that shit, and he one of them dudes that he be really believing that shit. Which as a black man, especially a dude like him, no. So it is what it is. Oh, people are trying to pull out. Oh, I told you all good black men on down low. And what's funny is, and I told one sister this because I was telling them about what transsexual energy was because they was like acting like, oh, I can't believe that, blah, blah. And I said, yo, that shit with the down low shit, the fact that y'all keep getting caught up in down low situations, y'all keep wanting to frame it like it's just a whole bunch of black men in down low. No, that's not what it is. What it is, that just goes to show you how you choose. That
yep,
because
yep.
it's interesting.
No, it's deeper than that.
It's interesting how non-black women are not getting caught up with niggas on the down low like y'all are.
So no, it's even deeper than that. It goes to show what they attract. Like there's never been a time I've been deep inside of some pussy, and the first thing I said, it thought in my head like, goddamn, I wish I had some dick. Like there's something about your fucking pussy that just makes a nigga prefer dick.
Well, that's
Like
the part.
you got some badass pussy. Like that shit's terrible. That's really an indictment on your goddamn pussy. Because there's no man that should be inside of a pussy and the first thing he thinks about is dick. If you keep
Well,
running to all these niggas that after you fuck them, you find out they're gay, either one, your pussy's that whack, or two, there's something about you that's attracting men who would generally want dick. So
yeah.
you have some of masculine energy that's attracting gay
You
men.
have to do an experiment in Atlanta or some shit like that.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. And I'm definitely a guy who promotes men traveling. I definitely am a guy who promotes men exploring their options outside of the quote unquote community. But if I have to be perfectly honest, I have never been with a black woman and it's been whack. Never. Now I've been with other groups of women, and at the end of the day, it's like I regret even entertaining, like, because you never know until you actually with the woman whether it's gonna be whack.
I don't know what happened. Was that me?
You said what?
Nah, man, I'm about to lose this fucking fight. Well, I'm fucking trying to fix the internet. Damn. Nah, I'm playing this, chilling out, playing this Mortal Kombat with Spawn. I'm like, hell yeah, Mortal Kombat got like 5 black people on it now.
Yeah, got Garrus,
Garrus,
Spawn,
Jax,
Jax, Jack's daughter, and who else? Who's the other one?
they got we count Jade. People be trying to argue Jade, talk about
Well, the thing about it is that
black.
because in the new Mortal Kombat they made Jade not black.
They tried to, but whatever. They try to make her like Afro Latina, some dark white. Nah, nah. They try to do it with the face and the goddamn that chin. Cause black women ain't got that chin. But no, I don't give a fuck. They can do what they tried to retcon a couple of shit with Sindel. They made Sindel's mom like a hoe. But hey, it is what it is. Jay's black.
Yeah.
Jay's black. I mean, look at the dude she with. I mean, because they got what with what that Indian dude, the Aztec dude. So whatever. I mean, real talk, I'm gonna be an asshole. I can claim him too. One drop rule, but I ain't gonna do all that. Like yeah. But anyway, but yeah, that was like they 5 for 5, and they got the black voice. They got what's it called? He's black as hell. His voice. People forget. Speaking of Spawn, I'm gonna switch up to Oh shit. All right, you back, Archer. Like people forget, man. Before this shit was popular, you had Spawn, you had damn man, you can't be fast. You had you had Spawn, but even before fucking Blade, you had Spawn, and that shit was the shit. That shit still holds up till this day. That Spawn movie.
Yeah.
And real talk, you want to talk about rated R movies? I mean, you need to bring that shit back. That's a rated R movie that will probably do well, once this Corona shit happens. I mean, this Corona shit fucked up the movie industry. Good. You know what? Fuck Hollywood. They don't need no fucking money, no more money right now. I'm glad they got froze.
Facts.
Maybe they could think about that gay shit they keep on doing. Like, uh, I will say you this one show I have looked at. This is off the chains. Is on Netflix. Altered Carbon with Anthony Mackie.
Oh, bro, you late.
Oh yeah, I mean, I saw it like a while ago. But yeah, that shit was the shit. Yeah,
They about to come out with season 2. I think was supposed to come out this month or next month.
but that's season 3. That's
Well,
season.
season 3 technically. Yeah,
I think they working on it, but well, who knows? Because
he's
now,
gonna be in a black guy's body now. I think he's gonna be in the guy who was a War Machine. He's gonna be in the guy who played War Machine. Is gonna be in it. A few
no,
other characters.
no, you mean okay? So they've already done season 2. Season 2 is Anthony Mackie. So season 3 is probably coming out later. But they already did season 2. But well, all these movies are getting fucking delayed. Now that I think about it,
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
shit's
You know what though? I haven't been able to watch. Listen, man, the last time I actually really watched some shows was like, what year is this? 2020, like maybe 2017. Like I'm like 2 years behind, man, because there's just been so much stuff going on with me as far as schooling and training. So I'm really like behind the loop. So it's like it's a good time for me because you know, like if you've missed all that stuff, you can like binge watch everything. I don't gotta wait. I can go back to catch first seasons and stuff and just binge watch it. And I ain't gotta wait for the new episode to come out.
Yeah, absolutely can. I mean, that's the advantage of shit. You don't got that press. You can. That's one less thing you got to worry about. But I'll say that this, like, just to bring up some new shit, like they probably based on when you was back in the loop, like Black Panther. Yeah, Black Panther. They basically trying to make it like they trying to make sure the new Black Panther. Now I don't know if they just trying to sow some controversy. I'm gonna keep it real.
Here we go.
I don't really see Disney really trying. I see Disney trying to make sure a Black Panther, but I don't see her trying to like really make her take on the market. The real question you have to ask yourself is like, are you really trying to say? Because first of all, Black Panther is already an ensemble like thing, and it works doing that, especially with Chadwick Boseman as the actor. But my thing is, are you really trying to tell me that you about to try to make this movie do any kind of shit that it used to do off of the strength of Shuri, trying to make her like, are you like? And I just don't see Kevin Feige being that stupid. But then again, he doing what he's doing with the internals, and but we'll see. But yeah, Chadwick Boseman's been speaking out against that. So apparently it's serious. He had like he getting upset. But again, I don't know if they tell him to do that or what. But
They're really
I'm
big
so
on not. They're really big on not adding new power. So what I can see them doing is they won't get rid of the main character, but they probably find a way to give Shuri the kind of the same power. So it'd be like a two Panthers type shit situation. I can see that, but as far as them getting rid of the main character and replacing him with Shuri, that'd be the dumbest shit you can never do.
I'm so sick and tired. Like, and maybe it's just me, but like I've been sick and tired of seeing movies and they have some type of female heroine that just whooping everybody's ass, whooping all these guys. Like, I mean, it's just not real. Like, I mean, it's like you never see that. Like, I don't understand like why they feel like they have to do it. Like I keep saying, like a woman already has power occupying her feminine space. Like, why do they feel like they have to put women in a position where they're occupying masculine space and exuding masculine energy? Like, that's not where women's power lies.
here's the truth: is women don't even respond to that. When you look at a lot of these movies, what you find is men are still even that Harley Quinn movie is a perfect example of what you talk about. When men, and I'm glad that shit happened before the corona. Well, the coronavirus was just starting, and now they gonna try to say that's what messed it up. But people did not respond to that movie at all. You could tell by what they did in the United States before that crap took off in the United States based on what it removed. And here's the truth: the truth is more dudes saw that movie than females. When you look at the demographic, all these female movies, it's still dudes seeing them, just like superhero movies. So when they always try to blame men or make it about men, it's like and here's the thing: as a shareholder, I'd be like, "Yo, y'all need to check these motherfuckers. It's not about business because we could be doing a hell of a lot better with all these acquisitions need to happen with this Netflix coming at our ass and all these app streaming. We do not need time for motherfuckers not buying shit because it's not political. And it's like if you want to do a certain demographic, then fine, do that, but you better have a fucking audience for it. Y'all better stop doing y'all propaganda shit and trying to put it into. That's really what they need to tell them, but people are going along with it because they selling them the bullshit. They basically saying, "Oh, you making enough money," so they kind of accepting that shit. When in actuality, they getting played. But yeah, Harley Quinn was a perfect example of that. And the reality is, um, more dudes saw it. Females are not even responding to that crap. That's what makes it
Wow.
so funny. So when they sit there and on the surface try to blame men, in actuality, the women are not even responding to that. So anyway.
One thing that I've noticed is that the women may have not gone to see the movie, but they do a lot of promotion of the character online. Like you will see a lot of women with the Harley Quinn
Yeah,
background on
over
the
some validation
yeah.
shit. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that.
They do that online. I think what happens with a lot of these directors and a lot of people who kind of source what people are into, they pay too much attention to. They think what people are like putting online is going to cross over to sales. So you're gonna have a lot of women with the Harley Quinn being on, let's say Halloween or Harley Quinn at like a picture on their Instagram or something like that. But these same women are not going to see the movie.
And
And
and from a business perspective, what I would say is I would say this. I say, look, I didn't say what the fuck I didn't said, and I stand by what the fuck I said. I'm talking about with that. But on the same time, I would say that does not necessarily mean that there is no market for it. What that means is these motherfuckers are not buying tickets. So you have to understand that they're gonna buy tickets. They will be happy. They may not buy a ticket, but they'll be happy to go with a man that wants to go. They'll go see it, right?
yeah,
So you have to then find a way to make it make sense for these dudes to kind of want to go more, and then you'll get the double ticket from the females. So stop kid. So this is where fucking Harley Quinn needs to be dressed up to look sexy and not look like she's fucking dressing down or some shit. This is when if you gonna get she don't get Jesse Smollett's fucking sister, you get a chick that niggas will want fuck. You know, they actually or you focus on being character accurate first. This is why when a lot of black men are talking about they want to see Storm in a Black Panther thing, black men are saying that, not even black women. You get a chick that looks good doing it, then you automatically can get the women to come along. But also, what you do with the females is you beat the females based on branding. So you sell shit. You sell costumes during Halloween, like premium costumes. You do the merchandising, and that's where you get the women in. You get the little girls and shit like that. That way. But as far as the tickets that needs to kind of fund all this shit, the dudes are still the ones coming to the movies.
right. But
Well, that's
that
because
that goes back to basically what happened with me is like the last movies I've seen or last movies my girlfriend has seen was been movies I've been interested in. Outside of that, she doesn't go to the movies.
Exactly. But go
She
ahead, Super Triz.
well, I mean, just certain genres of movies, certain subject matter, just not going to really interest women for the most part. I mean, there's certain, obviously, there's anomalies out there. You know, you have certain, groups of women that that embrace male energy, and obviously may be interested in a movie like that, and they may be a particular demographic to cater to. But for the most part, like I talk to a lot of women, and when they tell me the names of the movies that they like to watch, I'll be like, I never even heard of that shit. Like I mean, I've literally never heard of the movies that they're talking about, like ever. And like some of these movies are even like they'll even talk about, they'll bring up an older movie, and I'll be like, what? and then they'll tell me what it's about, and I'll be like, okay, well, that's why I've never heard of it. And then I tell them some of the movies that I like, and I'll bring up even the old classic movies. I'll be like, well, here's a movie that came out years ago, and they be like, I've yet to talk to a woman that's ever seen Once Upon a Time in America. Not once, not one woman I've talked to has never seen that movie, and that's a classic movie. That's one of the greatest movies of all time. No woman I've ever talked to has ever seen that movie. But it's just that women just have different tastes than men.
Yeah, but they love that Real Housewife bullshit. They came with Real Housewives of Atlanta in the movie. You motherfuckers.
Oh yeah.
Yo, I got you. We're gonna do some shit like the fucking what is that shit? Paranormal Activity. It's gonna be cheap as fuck, but we're gonna put the Real Housewife shit. They'll watch it. Trust me. They'll watch
Yeah,
it.
romantic comedies aren't even selling like they used to women. So, like, unless only time I see women really wanting to go to a movie if it's has some a date situation or it's something they want to see. But there's not really many movies that they feel are worth going to the box office to see.
But what it is Hollywood is gotten extremely lazy when it comes to market research too.
Yeah.
They are allowing social media can be a form. It can have its uses, but when it comes to market research, it can kind of give you an idea of what they should be using social media to say, okay, we see, like what you just said, Archer, a while ago about the people. There's a lot of social activity here when it comes to Harley Quinn as a character, right? And then the market research, what that's supposed to do is that's supposed to actually then confirm what the social media activity is suggested. The problem is they're taking the social media activity and trying to take that as valid and then making movies based on it. Here's another thing. A reason why they're doing that is because you have people that want to push certain political agendas too. They know they have to kind of soften up the population through the media, and movies are a great way of doing that. This is what happened with the Star Wars crap and that shit with that.
Yeah, but that Edward, have you ever seen an episode of Family Guy where Lois goes to jail? It's like the newer season.
No, I haven't.
So she goes to jail, and Peter like starts a podcast, and he was doing advertising on the podcast, and he made a joke about and like companies like Indeed, and he said something like we vastly overestimate how many podcast listeners are in a position to hire. Like that made me think of how like the marketing of people now is so fucked up, because you really think about it, a lot of people who be listening to podcasts probably ain't in a position to hire. How many Americans really are? And that just shows how far this goes as far as bad marketing in America.
No,
Because they're even doing it with commercials.
and they're lazy as fuck. There's just so much opportunity. Like for instance, take this fucking game like Mortal Kombat for example. I mean, you got like if you want to really put out the Spawn, like the Spawn character is a character like that was a character that people did for a very low budget, and you can honestly do the Spawn movie now even cheaper than probably when you did it, and still have it a lot better because like the nature of this character, but and even be rated R and be on some Deadpool shit.
Yeah.
But you soft put it out there in Mortal Kombat to kind of get it back in the populace, do a comic book. That's why they put a lot of social warrior bullshit.
Well,
And
Mortal Kombat's harder to write than let's say even Deadpool or Spawn, because the thing they did in both Deadpool.
I'm talking about in the game, but go ahead.
But the thing they did in both Deadpool and Spawn, which I'm sick of them doing in movies, they even did this in the Wolverine movie, where they have the main character fight somebody with his own powers. Like you see that all the goddamn time, and I'm like, that's just lazy as fuck.
Yeah, they gotta stop doing that. Like even with Black and Marvel has a very big bad habit of doing that because it's safe. And like I said, even like that Captain Marvel shit. Man,
I didn't even see that movie. I don't know nothing about that. I haven't seen it. Didn't watch the trailer for it.
I mean, I watched it because of Samuel L. Jackson. That other than that, I would have been like, fuck it. But yeah, the thing about it is don't even get me started. But it's a lot of I was actually we'll start giving our last words, but in fact, let's get our last words. I was gonna talk let's get our last words. Because I was gonna say about Amanda Bynes and some shit,
Yeah, don't go there.
because I didn't know. Shout out to Your World Harvey. He used to be Superboy. He said that like they started really roasting Amanda when she declared when she was dating Kid Cudi, and I was like, I didn't even know she dated black dudes like that. Like that. Like I didn't even think about that. And she was one of the chicks who's supposed to be like the next Tina Fey. And but that's how it is, man. But anyway, I think we talked about a lot. Like, yeah, I don't know what motherfuckers are doing. Like, this shit never hit past 30, and I'm like, I know you niggas ain't outside.
I've noticed all the streams today have been kind of very low as
Them
far as
niggas
viewership.
getting drunk, high. They doing something.
Well,
They got their whole family at home right now. They
that's
got
what it is. You hit the nail right on the head. Everybody at home, so now you got to interact with everybody that you've been avoiding.
yeah.
Yeah, now it's probably arguments.
Or you got some people acting like it's the end of the world. They trying to mend they trying to mend rifts and kumbaya, and they think it's the end of times.
Don't
Or
get
they
me.
just stressing because they lost their job or anything. Like people just, I guess people aren't looking to be entertained right now like they used to, or this type of content isn't top on the priority.
Well, shit, they not working, so they got to conserve electricity. They done turned off all the lights. They lighting candles, and they
Another thing too is you get used to listening to this during your routine, your daily routine, and once your daily routine kind of gets distorted, it kind of finds hard to find time find. It gets hard to find time to listen to this type of stuff when you're doing different things. When suddenly you're doing different things you were doing yesterday, like a trucker who's no longer driving, or who's at home now with his family, he may not listen as much.
yeah.
Oh, I ain't gonna lie, cause like my shit, if I need to listen to something, I be downloading shit. But I ain't gonna lie, it's this channel called Brightside where they be talking about abandoned Sears, they be talking about places that got abandoned, places that got bankrupt. This shit is funny as hell, man. Cause you be like, yeah, that's when they fucked up.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. I've heard a few companies might go under because of this shit. They may not be able to bounce back after this shit. Now Sears was already going under. Sears was already gone, but I'm talking about after this. They talking about a few people might just not recover.
Oh
They might
yeah.
be good. They might be out of business by the end of the year.
Best Buy, like how's Best Buy gonna last?
Nah,
Because
best,
even after, you got to think about this. Like even after this blows over, if it blows over, after it blows over, right? People are going to be still recovering. People are going to recover for a year after this blows over, because now it's like they got to get back on their feet. They got to get back in the position to where they have disposable income. Then they're going to be scared once they actually have disposable income, because it's like, okay, is this going to happen again? So it's
Yeah.
like it's companies that are brick and mortar, that have a high overhead, they're in trouble.
You know which companies you should invest in now? Those year food supply companies. Because after this shit's over, people's short term gonna learn their lesson. They all gonna become what's that called? Uh, when the world is ending type people that stock up on those
yeah,
uh
survivalists.
Yeah,
survivalists.
there you
Everybody's
go.
gonna be survivalists for a minute after this. So they
Well,
might as well,
one thing, yeah, you right. Because one thing I will say is when it comes to the brick and mortar folks, like even whether cause Best Buy, I think might surprise by the very definition that they're like the really only retailer left like that, other than like Walmart. But we'll see. But what I will say is it's gonna be a lot like malls are fucked. Like it's
yeah.
like I got a mall like that I never would have thought would have fell off. That it's so fall off. They actually reorganized into a sports complex. Like it's done, and that's just because it just suffered a death by a thousand cuts because other towns were built. But malls are completely fucked, man. A lot of retail space are completely. A lot of that, if you own retail space, man, the internet is what it is, and I'm telling you, like right now, because people, you ain't got so. I'm like, no. At the end of the day, people still buying some shit. Like, even I deal a lot in the work from home space, and motherfuckers are spending money. Like, you just gotta know how to get access. I mean, I ain't spending all money, but you gotta get access to them. But real talk, if your overhead is high, it's gonna be you right. It's gonna be a lot of companies follow, and the government ain't gonna be able to save all these fucking companies. So it might as well.
They trying though. This is the fastest stimulus package I've seen in my life. Even furniture stores are fucked right now. Like they came out with a stimulus like that. They were like, we ain't playing no games. Like they know it's coming. They like when they come out with a stimulus this fast, to support companies that are under. And I never even thought of it like, damn, I didn't know this many companies were living check to check. Like they just like us.
But these
Like,
niggas,
Well,
damn.
think about
hold on, time out before anybody say anything else. So all these niggas talking about how much reparations gonna cost and how we gonna pay for it, and they ain't got money and they can't produce the money. All right, where these motherfuckers at? You
Like
got
that.
motherfucking universal basic income being talked about. All these motherfuckers have been quiet as church mice. I'm surprised BGS ain't came out talking shit. But anyway,
See,
go ahead.
that's BGS's biggest problem, man. He is a humble ass nigga.
But
Like when he wants to be, but he that's his biggest problem.
but go ahead, Super Triz.
well, I mean, like again, like the humbleness is that you give people enough rope to hang yourself because you have to understand people will like as Edward likes to say they'll flip the table and see and you allow them to do that by not being humble and then they'll actually divert the topic to the fact that you're not humble and totally disregard the fact that their point just got dismissed.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why you got to be humble and just allow them to hang themselves with their own rope. Like don't even worry about it. They like they got that. They'll take care of themselves. And it's crazy because there's so many industries like real estate, for instance. Right? I've been bombarded over the past week, actually week and a half. I've been bombarded by real estate agents calling me, like not just texting me, calling me, leaving voicemails, like my voicemail box is full because of these damn real estate agents trying to sell me property. We got this good deal. Oh, I saw that you were interested. You registered for this. 13 months ago. Yeah, 13 months ago. What are you contacting me now? like it's like no. I'm telling you, it's utter desperation.
Yeah.
State industry is at a standstill right now.
And dude, I got into a really big argument because I've got somebody like that's going through the NACA program, right? And the NACA program allows you to get a house without a loan. When I say without a loan, I mean like without a down payment. And I'm like, it's like you're fucking suicidal now because you keep on like all you gotta do is get this extra G and the government about to drop this shit in your lap. And then you can get this fucking house and you'll probably pay less rent than what you're paying now because of you can get this house, the kind of ones that you want at a price that probably would not have been foreseeable. Because this is completely stalled the real estate market. And I'm talking about trying to tell this person to get a new house because what you want to do is you want to catch these home builders when they trying to move volume.
Well, you know what it is? Like I'm looking online. Me and my sister was looking online yesterday. We went on realtor.com and we were seeing houses in Los Angeles for under $200,000. Now,
what?
Let me tell you, short sales. I mean, it was probably about. We looked up. There was probably about 14,000 short sales that we just looked at. Like, we couldn't even look at all, but personally, I looked. I saw about 14,000 short sales because people are trying to liquidate. A lot of people got homes that they don't live in for whatever reason, and people are scared.
Trying to get that quick money.
They need to liquidate assets and they need to have access to raw cash because some of these people are business owners. Think about it, right? If you own a business, right? Say for instance you own a business and you got a couple houses, right? And you're like, okay, either I can hang on to these houses or I want to hang on to my business. Like you done put your blood, sweat, and tears into this business, and now it's like an emotional attachment to this business. So you start liquidating assets in order to float your business through this time. And so now there's so many opportunities out there, and this is just the start of it. Like if you're in a position where you've saved up some money, or you just have some money that's saved up for whatever other reason, like hang on to that money, and like because now it's gonna be some opportunities to actually capitalize on like that. That's I'm trying to get a hold of a short sale or like get one of those go to the courthouse and actually bid on the property that's been one of the what you call where you don't pay your property taxes and tax lien. There you
Yeah,
go,
you
tax
talk to
lien.
Erica Williams about that. Tax lien clean.
What's that guy name? Black Outcast Media Broadcast.
I forget.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, but he's out here in Washington. He's not in he's north of Seattle, but he's still in this area. He I think he done bought a couple tax liens. So I'm gonna try to link up with him and you know and figure out what's going on, because this is a perfect opportunity. Like people that's out there listening, like if you can get a hold now, it's some stipulations to a tax lien. You gotta have cash, but you'll be able to get a property
You got to be able to
for.
raise it. Yeah, you got to be able to raise it. And there's people out like that's the thing, man. Warren Buffett says it all the time. He said it with 2008, and I'm gonna say it just like this. And this is what I told this person before we ended the conversation. I said I want to end it with me calling the same name shit and don't fucking call me. I said, you remember what you said about if I can go back to 2008, no, not 2008, if I can go back to 2011, right? Where the crisis had came, the crisis had passed, but still with foreclosures and shit, and motherfuckers are buying up property, and you know how much shit is worth now, right? Like, what would you wish you could do? Because that was the time to get a house. I'm like, I don't know if this is exactly like that, but this is sure looking like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And see, the thing that people don't understand is when you especially when you get to like being in your 30s, you start to look at what happened in your 20s, and then you realize not the one time you fucked up, but the multiple times you fucked up.
Like the 20th time you done fucked
Like
up.
imagine. I'll give you some easy ones. YouTube was bought in 2005. I'm not even talking about if you were smart enough to invest in YouTube. Fuck that. If you would have made a channel like in 2000, like 10? How the algorithm was. The algorithm. This is how people like Tommy and all them came up. Like what was it, PewDiePie? They came up based on hustling. The algorithm was just about views, and it wasn't about watch time. They were able to manipulate that. That's not even the easiest one. If you could imagine Google when Google was newer and they were first doing Google ads, motherfuckers was selling pills. They would hustle. They were selling shit, and Google ads was like a couple of cents. That shit, those like a cent per click. That shit is like a couple of dollars per click. The same thing was like a dollar depending on what industry you're hiring going to. Facebook, when Facebook first started doing ads, and even Instagram before Instagram, like Instagram back when Instagram was like a lot of these big ass channels, like these whole channels and thought channels back in the day. And that's not even, not to mention like investing in companies like Netflix and stuff like that. But people couldn't have really known that Netflix would become Netflix. But the point is, you have the Bitcoin is another one. You know,
Yeah,
as like if you got out when you got out, like people don't. I mean, 50 Cent made a lot of money investing in Bitcoin early on. There's a lot of opportunities and things that exist. And by the way, there's trainings that I will give people that these trainings are 10 years old. There's a product that you could buy. It starts out at $50, but it can go up to like $299 a month, and it's an educational product. And basically, some of the trainings they have in that product, like it's 10 years old, and you know it's old because it's like the Google Hangouts back when Google Hangouts first got started. So you know how old it is, but some of that stuff still is worth it today because the training is still valid. Like it's not like the stuff that needs to be updated is updated, but the stuff that's kind of like evergreen is what they call it, is stuff that's still put up there because it's the best training they could do with the information. And it just goes to show you the old stuff still works, and so why everybody's panicking. Remember, and some people have a reason to be worried. Like you lost your job and stuff like that. I understand. Believe me, I understand. But if you're somebody that's been getting your house so long, been working on something, even if you haven't, if you're somebody that's still employed and you know you're in kind of a unique situation where you kind of know you're still gonna be employed based on where your company is
Man.
and what the products they sell, even if you ain't making the whole bunch of money, you have some opportunities. Like take this NACA thing for example. Like real talk, somebody just hearing me right now, if they were to go into the next NACA class, and they had $3,000, they had a lot, they didn't have no outstanding debts, even school doesn't even count. They didn't have like no bad credit debts, you know, and judgments and get that shit paid or get a consolidation loan to get that shit handled, and they're renting shit where they're paying like $1,000 or $800 for rent, they can probably match that with a house. There's people that are all these people talk about, oh Lord, you better be looking because this is an opportunity, and this gonna be, you got some time to get your shit together if you just doing it.
I mean, especially if you still got a job. Like I just found out my job closed today. I went to work and they talking about this is the last day, niggas, and boom, I don't have a job right now. Especially
Ooh.
if you still got a job, because if you didn't have a job, like me personally, when I yesterday I was thinking I was in my head like, oh, we about to get a check from the government. I'm about to make this shit work. I know. Boom, you don't got a job. But if you still got a job right now, this is the time to make double the money because you ain't got to pay your bills. They're not making you pay right now. I heard T-Mobile ain't cutting off your phone if you don't pay your bill. Like I don't know how they're gonna do that on the other side when all this is over. But
Here's the caveat to that, right? Like you don't pay your bills, it could still affect you negatively for credit. For somebody like
yeah,
myself who has an interest in investing, particularly in real estate, I got a $4,000 mortgage I got to pay every month, and that's not going to stop, just because, they say that you don't have to, that they're not going to foreclose on your property, but who's to say that after that fact, like after this period passes, you don't pay your 4,000 for the next 6 months, 4 times 6 now owe $24,000,
yeah.
and it's like, okay, well, we're not going to foreclose during that period, but now after this period, where's our $24,000?
Now, what
You
I
see what I'm
will
saying?
say is, if you can get some deferments on some shit, then you should definitely look at doing that.
Well,
Because
Yep.
that's the thing about now. Does the deferment defer the principal? Do you still accumulate interest through that period of deferment? So now your first payment after the reinstatement of payments, they're going to amortize the interest payments that accrue while you didn't pay. So now,
well, it
like
depends.
for like the next 12 months, your $4,000 payment now is $5,000 for the next 6 months because you got to pay all the interest you missed.
No, absolutely. But what I'm looking at, and you talk about that, like, understand, dude, I'm in North Carolina. Like, I ain't nobody know nothing about no $4,000 payment unless you're dealing with fucking dealing with some Jewish shit. Like, nigga, like you can't even find a $4,000 payment unless you in the elite out here. Like you getting everything you want. But I'm talking about like if you got like a loan and you're trying to basically create some situations where it's like, okay, I'm living check to check and I need to get out of that habit. So I need to create room in order to kind of
Yep.
people are playing catch up on bills and shit. You need to kind of rebalance that so one bill here can kind of put you in that position. So I'm not talking about doing that over a long period of time. I'm talking about somebody doing that maybe they got like a $1,000 bill but damn, super curious, $4,000.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not in the
Yeah.
fucking, and you in Washington, you in fucking, well, New York City is ground zero for Corona now, but Washington was ground zero for that bitch. Whew.
Yeah, but you forgot what I do, Edward. So I like listen.
What does
They
that
like
4,000
Oh
get
no,
you?
no. I mean, I get you in medical, but that shit has. I mean, I get
no,
it.
no. I mean, like no. I'm not talking about. I'm talking about as far as like they like I could literally work 7 days a week. I had to take some time off because I'm just burnt out, man. They don't work my ass to death.
Oh no,
You
I
see what I'm
know you
saying?
can pay it. I'm just saying. I'm not saying as far. I'm just saying. Damn, that's just how high Washington is. That's what I'm thinking about.
I ain't
Like
moving to Washington. Shit, I'll tell you that right now. I just moved out of
Listen, no,
Minnesota
no,
because
no,
it was
no, no,
getting hot.
mind you, hold up, mind you. Now, for some people that I work with, when I tell them, where my property is at, they're like, "Oh, you in the hood?" Because I got a coworker now. I got a coworker, right? Her house is 2.2 million. This is her house. I don't even know how much her mortgage is, but I know her
nigga,
house is 2.2 million
John
because
Edwards' house was like 2.2 million. The dude that ran for, like, dude, it is, dude. Like, honestly, it is hard. It is so hard once you get into a million, it's like, dude, what the fuck do you want? Because it's not even based on area. Even if you're in the, trust me, I got sats out here, so it ain't like it is area. The thing about North Carolina is, or at least this area. This area has a lot of land it can still build on. So you don't still. So it's a matter of you want to move further downtown, but like further downtown could be like it ain't. It's like 20 minutes from downtown. That's like the furthest downtown. You know So that's not even far, to be honest with you. So if you want a bigger house and you want to pay bigger prices, you usually got to go to the next town and the next town that they building up. So what happens, even yeah. But go ahead, man, finish that because that yeah, you talk about
That's
hood.
ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that
Now,
is.
I
But
thought it was getting bad in
but that's how.
Minnesota.
No, it's just expensive in the West Coast. No, hell no, it ain't that expensive. Minnesota, no, Minnesota about on par with what it is here. But anyway,
No,
go ahead.
Minnesota's about five points ahead of the national averages national average as far as housing costs
I
go.
don't know why.
Or renters cost goes because they're able to leverage the fact that people need houses there because it gets so fucking cold and you can't
Yeah,
really do without it. So they're able to
no
leverage
nigger
that.
here, so it's premium prices. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, see, the problem out here in Seattle is that the weather is so inclement out here. So it takes forever to even have a house built because they're trying to build the house. It's raining every fucking day. So like you have a house that normally, like in Texas, like when I had a house built from scratch. That house, I want to say it took what 3 months to build the house.
Mm.
They built the house in like 3 months because they was able to work every single day, right? Here, you want a house built, it's gonna take you a damn year. It's gonna take you a year to get a house built.
That's how it
If
is
you're
in
lucky, because
Minnesota
it's
too.
raining all the time. And so and then like like it's been freezing cold. Like right now, you wake up in the morning, it's in the 30s still. And so
30s?
Yeah, they can get that thing done in North Carolina too, man. They'll find a way to make it. Yeah.
I'm in Arizona right now, and I laugh how people think that 30s is bad. That shit's funny to me. Right?
what
Okay.
what do you mean? Like you think 30s is not cold?
Man, in the 30s, I'll be walking around in a t-shirt. White boys be walking
Shit.
around in
What
shorts.
Arizona, there's no humidity.
That's
See,
why I
when
got
you in
fucking like
30,
Chicago.
yeah,
We
when you
don't
in
get it.
30
Don't
and
get
it's
to 30 in Arizona.
huh?
It don't get to 30 in Arizona unless it's nighttime.
Oh, they talking about yeah. I mean, that's the closest I would go is Arizona because Arizona is a because I be a gateway to West Coast, but I would never fucking go
You
to.
know, Phoenix is what is it? Is it number 4 or number 5 now in the largest cities now? It surpassed.
Yeah, it's
It,
up there.
it's five. It's
It's
five.
huge here. It's huge.
It passed Philly. It's five.
Yeah, yeah. It's running neck and neck with Houston now.
And
Yeah,
remember,
it's
people
huge.
don't count Scottsdale.
I've only been here for a month, and I love it here. I absolutely love it. Like
What part of Arizona you in?
I'm in Tempe right now.
Where's that at?
That's southern. That's southern, right under Phoenix. So it's a
So
city.
it's near Phoenix.
Yeah, it's a college town right next to it, right near, right under it.
You
Like
know,
so, as soon as you come in,
I was actually looking at some property in Phoenix. I just don't want to buy property too far from where I'm at because I want to be able to to check on the property and
Where's
look at
that
stuff.
nigga with the Tulsa? Where's that nigga with the fucking Tulsa fund? This is where you fucking make that money.
Oh, hey, somebody just who is this guy?
That shit.
There's a guy that just dismantled who went in on him. What's that guy? Jay Morrison.
Yeah.
There's a guy.
Who dismantled him. Tell us about that.
yeah, I heard about that.
There's a guy. Yeah, he has a YouTube channel. And he actually this guy he dismantled what's that guy's name? Not Polite. Well, he dismantled Polite. Umar Johnson. It was Umar Johnson. He dismantled he dismantled like anybody like that.
Slayer or something?
Huh?
He the nigga slayer or something?
No, I don't know what his name is, but it's a light-skinned dude. He has a YouTube.
Oh shit.
He's not like super light-skinned, but he not he a little bit darker than Edward, but he's light compared to me. But anyways, it's some light-skinned dude, whatever. And he basically was going in on Jay Morrison and breaking down, because like he actually broke it down from a business standpoint and talked about like the stipulations regarding his particular arrangement about like how investment, because the way his company is set up. Okay, so basically, like we talk about investment, right? You have what's called an accredited investor and a non-accredited investor.
Yeah, you
right?
gotta be like a millionaire to be accredited. Go ahead.
In order to be an accredited investor, you have to actually make, I believe it's you have to have either a 1 million in assets or you have to make greater than $250,000 or is it $300,000 a year? One of the two. I can't remember. So it's either you have a net worth or you have to make a certain amount of money every year, and that's how you become an accredited investor. And becoming an accredited investor allows you to invest in certain funds and certain projects. If you're a non-accredited investor, there's certain things you can't invest in. So Jay Morrison's Tulsa fund was set up in such a way that non-accredited investors can invest in it. But it's crazy because as a non-accredited investor, a lot of the protections that funds that accredited investors have access to, non-accredited investors don't have access to, which doesn't make any sense. You would think that they would try to protect people that who don't have as much, right? But it's really they protect the people who actually have more. And so basically his fund is basically where people can't pull their money out. And because it's not part of the stock exchange, you can only sell it to people or sell back to the company or sell it to other people who are interested in buying it. You see what I'm saying? And if the person who runs the fund decides not to honor people selling the stock, then you can't sell it. So like right now during the whole coronavirus thing, at the beginning of it, Jay Morrison announced that he won't be allowing people to sell their shares. So people actually are stuck with a depreciating asset because the Tulsa fund is not turning a profit, obviously. So people are saying, well, basically this guy basically said that he's basically a crook and he's robbing people, and because basically through the whole thing he's been collecting a salary of like $400,000 annually, and the people who actually invested in the fund haven't got paid at all, haven't made any money. So that's it in a nutshell for that Tulsa.
I mean, at the end of the day, I wanted to give him a chance because he's a brother, but at the end of the day, man, he got too much. He want to be like the Real Housewives bullshit in him. I need my people. You want to know how I like investors like Glendon Cameron or like fucking Peter Harris. Go look at Peter Harris for commercial property, and you'll see. I want them boring. I want them lame. I want them lame as fuck. The lamer, the better.
Yeah.
Unless they demonstrate to me they know how to sell some other shit. But I want you to be lame as fuck because I'm American Greed is one of my favorite shows. I'm about to do some catch. Oh God, y'all gotta look at. There's some episodes of American Greed where they make sisters look bad.
They're making sisters look bad all through the media now, and sisters are the only ones that don't see it.
And
They're the only ones that don't see it.
And they be making black men look goofy as fuck. There's this one about this chick that's like a finance. She's like a financial manager for NBA players, and yeah, man, like it's bad. Like these dudes are goofy as fuck, man. They be falling for the bullshit. And as soon as she talk about, yeah, man, I want to help you create intergenerational wealth. Them niggas eyes get big. She got Ricky Williams. She got this is what happened to a lot of McCants money. She got them, boy. And she ain't even like all that attractive. She one of them Spelman chicks. Like, it's funny, man, because a lot of them chicks from these fucking schools be hustling. But yeah, I gotta get y'all the season in the episode. But yeah, I'm
gonna check it out.
Creed and Locked Up Abroad.
I'll check it out. But I'm about to bounce on you at work.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm about to leave too. So I'm dealing. They got this Jackie Briggs in his Ghostbuster uniform, whooping this white bitch's ass. I mean, they made sure they made Jackie Briggs black as hell, man. But anyway, I'm looking at these properties, man, and real talk, like, yeah, man, there's some opportunity, and it's gonna get worse before it gets better. So
yeah, you basically have into 2020. I mean, if you ain't in a position right now, you don't get shit, and if you get your shit together in 12 months, you still be in a prime position to take advantage of this shit.
Yeah. And my thing is, I'm trying to get equity because the shit is going to eventually go back up. I'm thinking of equity, because there needed to be a reset on a lot of shit. Like, how much is gas where you at?
Who, me?
Yeah,
$3.
Gas is like at $1.66.
Well, gas.
I never even look at how much gas costs.
The thing about Phoenix is that this is becoming a very big city.
That's how paid Super Triz is. He said he don't even look.
Yeah. This is becoming a
Well,
very
no,
big city, so
Nah.
so traffic is very big here. Like if you're gonna be here, it takes a long time to get to work because of traffic, and they're having gas shortages, so gas is still gonna be very high here.
Now, if you a nigga that want to act like you riding clean with a premium car, and you can't afford that gas, you looking at gas prices. But go ahead, Patrice.
no. The reason why I don't look at gas is because, like, I mean, really and truly, some people look at gas, they shop around for prices, but it's really not going to be no more than a couple cents difference from any gas station you go to. So I never even really look at the gas prices. I just, because like when I get gas, I always fill up anyway. Like, because
Yeah,
I hate having to stop to get gas. It's really aggravating to me.
man, I'm a nigga who used to drive on E all the time, but I know my car. Like I pay attention to gas.
Yo, you ever
Well,
go run out of gas with a female? She's like, I fuck you ain't get no.
well,
Hey, I
see,
ran
like,
out of gas with a female, and I still got some pussy. That shit clean as fuck. I
well,
ran out of gas just a couple months ago, and I found out they got patrols on the highway now that be coming and giving you gas for free.
well,
Yeah,
I'm from California, so I know a lot of people. I've known a lot of people that have gotten killed getting gas late at night. So for me, I was always like, always got my gas filled, and I fill it on my terms.
yeah.
Like it's never a situation where, oh shit, I gotta go get gas. No, it's like, I'm gonna get some gas right now, and I stop and get gas because I want to get gas, not because I have to get gas. Because when you have to get gas, now you gotta get gas in an area you don't want to get gas in, or at a time you
See,
don't feel like getting gas in.
That shit sound like a
nah.
Key and Pill
Not
skit.
if you know how many miles your car gets per gallon exactly,
Oh, you
and how
pushing it.
many gallons you got in your
Nah, well,
car.
I can tell you.
Let me tell you something.
Luckily, I don't
I,
got to worry about that shit.
I was in Germany and I was driving not my friend's car, my friend's girlfriend's car. So they basically just let me drive the car for like 3 months. So I just drove the car for like 3 months. I think she had went somewhere and he really didn't drive her car, so I was driving her car, and I didn't even know her. I just knew him. So I was driving her car, and I didn't know that her gas tank lever was broken. So I was driving somewhere and I lost track, and I looked down. It's like I got a quarter tank of gas, and so I'm like, I'm gonna stop to get some gas. In Germany, the exits is like 10 miles apart sometimes.
Oh,
Because the speed limit is so fast, they don't have the exits real close. So by the time I got to the next exit, I thought I had a quarter tank of gas, and then I had to go into the town to find a gas station, and my gas car cut off in the gas station parking lot. I had to push it to the pump. That's the reason why. That's one of the reasons why. Like, I don't take any chances.
man, that is a horror story, guy. You've been through a lot. You were in the gas station when you ran out of gas,
And you were dealing. And he was dealing with but he was dealing with liters too. He wasn't dealing with gallons. Nigga,
Yeah, you know what? Gas. Gas in Europe is because you'd be like, oh, the gas is like. So if you pay $4 a gallon here, in Germany it's probably €3 per liter, and it's like 3 liters per gallon. 3.3 or 3 or 3.
That's crazy. Yeah,
So it's super expensive.
Crazy.
That's why motherfuckers use that transit.
Well, okay. We got to break that down. So just to get the driver's license in Germany is €2,000 at the time. This was like 2006. It was €2,000 just to take the test. First of all, you got to go to driving school, which is like €900. Then you have to pay for the test, which is like €2,000. You failed. Now the test is hard as fuck too. It ain't like the American test. The test is hard as hell. And if you fail the test, you got to pay the €2,000 again, plus a €700 fee.
What is that? A CDL over there?
No, like a regular driver's license. If you fail it a second time, you got to pay the €2,000 plus a €700 fee, plus another €700 fee.
Yo, what are they doing? To try to keep people from driving or something?
No, they just make it super hard because you got areas where there's no speed limit, so they have to be extra careful. So then you fail the third time, you can't take it ever again. That's it. You're done for life. And so that's why some people don't drive out there. So for me, right, I took the test, right? And I'm like, oh, I did. Oh, you passed the test. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm good. They're like, oh no, you got to take the vision test now. This vision test was the hardest vision test I've ever taken. I failed it. I failed the vision test. They would not give me a license.
You must have.
So I had to go to the doctor and get like these fucking Coke bottle. They look like binoculars with a fucking earpiece. Like, no, they was that thick in order to pass the vision. And even with those glasses on, I barely passed the vision. I mean, it's really difficult. Like, it's really difficult to pass that German test.
You were sitting there at the vision test, zooming them motherfuckers in and out.
like I was sweating too, because I was like, oh man, I still can't see it.
Then they got a little dot.
That's it. What was that show? Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And he was sitting there like, can you see it? Yo, you know, we got deals on Craigslist that oh some really good houses. That is some shit. Yeah. Let me get this shit to like the end of the summer, like August. These houses gonna be right. They're gonna be right in the prices I want. Get these bitches at like 100. If I can get them at like 160, upper 160s, 4 bedrooms.
See, that's the thing. That thing though. What year houses you looking at?
Oh, these fucking houses are new. Some of these houses are new construction.
Yeah, that's what I'm on. I don't want nothing but new 2000s or newer. That's all I want.
Oh yeah, I don't look at nothing older than that. Like the shit I'm
I don't want older houses.
Well, take it from somebody that bought a house brand new. It's not you really want to look at the trajectory. Okay, it depends on what type of property you're buying. If you're buying like a single family home, you really want to look at the trajectory of the price appreciation. So sometimes in an established neighborhood, depending on where it's at, you can have a better price appreciation. So from an investment standpoint, it may make more sense to buy an older home versus a new home if it's not something necessarily that you're planning on living in. Like,
you want to buy a house for my family. That's the first house I'm trying to buy right now.
Well, I mean, even still, like, this is your opportunity, not necessarily to get the house that you want, but to get in a house that will give you the greatest return on investment. So like certain houses that previously were inaccessible to you, now you have access to certain property that could set you up. You stay in this house 7 years, and then in 7 years, now that house is worth $1 million. Then you could sell that, flip that. Now you get the house that you want. Also, the perspective of now you're looking at, for some people, looking at multifamily, looking at a fourplex, looking at something like that, because you get into something like that. Now your actual appreciation is not necessarily the value of the property, but in the actual residual income. You're getting monthly income that you're able to tap into, because when you have a house that actually appreciates in value, you can't actually tap into that equity unless you get a home equity line of credit, you get a second mortgage, or you sell the property. But an actual revenue property like a fourplex, getting money every month that you can actually tap into is not tied up in the equity of the property. So, think about that.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff, man, and it's really it is some opportunity. It really is. If you got the capital, if you somebody that's got some good credit, but yeah, that's something I'll probably hit up.
Yeah, well, I got to ask you one more question, because about the NACA program. I actually was at work last week, and some of my coworkers told me about how he's on the NACA program. Now, I had some questions, but I knew he probably couldn't answer them all. So I was like, I'm going to talk to Edward. Yeah. I know I heard Edward say some shit about it. I heard you say something about it on BGS and shit one time.
Yeah.
As far as the NACA program, like for me, my credit's a little shot right now. It's like what?
It's not credit. It's not credit based.
Yeah, but mine's like in the low 600s.
It's not credit based.
High 500s.
What they look at is they look at, okay, what are the bad debts that you have? What are debts like credit cards has been written off, shit like that, and then you got to get that straightened out. That's what they look at.
Only bad debt I have that still has any type of debt on it right now is I owe Chase like $500.
Yeah. So that's that. You not having a job is going to be an issue because they're looking, because they need to, and then they're going to also, but what they will look at is they'll also look at Because what happens is this is how the program works. The program
Hmm.
basically works is you type in NACA, whatever your city and state is, it'll give you the class you can go to. The stuff is free. You go there, you go to orientation. It's 4 hours. It's a Saturday. Just deal with it. They don't have orientations all the time. It's like once every two weeks. And so you go there, you do it, take the 4 hour, do it. They give you a book. It looks like SAT shit. And they give you what the prices are, blah blah blah. They walk you through the whole program. Then what happens is you get what's called once you pay that $50 fee, you get called a NACA counselor. This is somebody they actually get paid to get you in the house, but see there is very severe penalties if you don't like pay for the shit you get. So they are very heavily incentivized to make sure you go through what the program is and what they went through in the orientation. So they're going to tell you what you need to do and all this. Also, they're not going to dig in your finances. The way that it works is there's a website that you input your finances in. So you input what your bank account is, your when I say your bank account, your spending habits and stuff like
Hmm.
that. And they dig deep. They want to know what your spending actually is. And basically they tell you they have the requirements that you just got to fill. You got to like save 3,000, have $3,000 in your account, and then the only other thing to do, and then demonstrate that you're able to pay rent over a certain amount of time. So they look at wherever you're living and whatever you've been paying. So if you're paying like 1,000, they use that as a benchmark to you can afford $1,000 mortgage, and then that's multiplied times whatever a 15-year mortgage or 30-year mortgage is, and that's how they determine what you get with the house.
Well,
Um,
okay, let me ask you this, Edward.
and
So,
it's for first-time home buyers too. That's another thing.
now, is this program because I'm wondering if it's a program because I've heard of programs, that are for people who people who don't have the down payment. What the program does is is like an entity that actually and purchase the property outright, and so now you pay the actual company that purchases
No,
the
that's
property.
not what this is. What this is, they actually get loans from the bank, but it is still a loan that you're doing through the bank. So pretty much because
Oh,
they've
okay.
been around since like the early '90s, like '92, and since it's a nonprofit, and since they have been able to basically have a very good track record on people like actually paying loans and completing the loans, they're able to get a lot of pool of loans. And so you go through what's called their NACA program. You can actually go through it with a realtor, but they also have realtors on file. Now, I know what it is in North Carolina. It's pretty much the same across the board, but like the price of the house that you can get, what that cap is, depends on what area you're in. So, like where I'm at is 280,000, but that's because houses are a lot less here. That's going to be a lot higher in areas where houses are higher. Um,
Houses are cheap here too in Arizona.
yeah, and also it has to be you can't have more than one home. So and it's a first. It's not really a first. No, you don't got to be a first time home buyer, but you can't like
Good.
already have another home. So the way that you do what I tell people the way that they do it is for family members, it's like one of those things where if you got folks that got some money, got their shit together, they try and get a townhome. So you got brothers and sisters and stuff like that. That's how you get them in their first house. And then they do one. The way we did it was I used my income combined with my mom's income, and we got her in the house. And then I sat there and then got my townhouse, and then my brother did what he did, and so that way it was just multiple people getting their first home.
Yeah, because with me, I've owned a house before and I sold it, but I don't own a house right now.
Okay, then
So
you're fine. Then you're fine.
yeah.
You just can't like they won't let you like use it as like a real estate investment kind of thing. That's way to get real estate without having a down payment.
So
Because
how long does the program normally take? Let's say I was to start the program, let's say in May. How long do you, if I do everything correctly and
if
follow it
you
to the
if you
T?
would have had if you would have had a job and you had like 6 months or like you would demonstrated consistent employment because you got to put up your tax returns and stuff like that too, and it's like you upload all that stuff, your tax returns, the transcripts. Then like somebody like Subatrez, if he wouldn't have a house, they would accelerate him. Somebody like you.
But that's the thing too. I've always had a job. Like I ain't
Okay, so
got
yeah,
haven't
so
had a job.
absolutely, so
It's just right now the only reason I don't have a job right now is because of the Corona, and
okay, so
I work in the car industry, and they shut down
That's
car
that's a
plants.
good thing. So it was an act of God situation. So that would be fine. So really, once you get back employed, and then you demonstrate that, then probably they will put you on an accelerated path. which means you would get an appointment a lot quicker, and then like really honestly probably 3-4 months you be
Really?
talking to a realtor. I mean, it's that serious. What happens that what makes it take long is people have these fucking debts, and it's how fast they are about getting them taken care of. Like even student loan debt, even if it can be in deferment, but what folks be doing is they be bullshitting on the debt. They be having, like for instance, the one situation that was dealt with where somebody had a judgment, somebody had here's another thing too, your debt to income ratio is another thing. So if your debt to income ratio is out of alignment because one person had a judgment, one person had a they had a $350 car payment, so it put their debt to income ratio out of whack. And they had a bed, they had furniture, so that shit had to get paid off or like organized in such a way where their debt to income ratio was looking good. And it's not nothing crazy, it just can't be on some crazy shit,
That's
So,
crazy because I got a $250 car loan right now, so
well,
probably
well,
get that out the way.
well, it just depends on how much money you make. So if you make money to where your debt to income ratio is fine, then you're good. But if you don't make that,
I make about 45,000 a year.
yeah, that should be fine. But here's another thing: if you're
No, but you're married though, right?
No, I ain't married.
Oh well, who are you with?
I'm with somebody, but I'm not married.
Oh,
but if
I thought you had kids and stuff together with somebody.
I had kids, but I don't mean I married the bitches. Hell no.
but
No,
but
so,
One of
but I mean, but like,
one of one.
are you
Huh?
with the woman? Are you with her?
No, I have two baby mamas. One of them,
super
Oh,
stripper. And
one
by
of
the
them was a stripper. We broke up. One of them got fat. We broke up.
and
oh,
check
because
this out,
I thought
they not even American black women. So he's sitting there making us all look bad.
because what I was saying
No,
was
well,
that
one of them is an American black woman. She's the one who got fat, and
Uh,
The Nigerian one is the one who became a stripper because my Nigerians are money hungry. So
I mean because if you were with a woman, you could have combined your assets.
yeah, that's what I was
well,
thinking about doing.
but another thing
No,
too
no,
is
no, don't do it if you're not with her. With her, don't do it.
Like not married.
yeah,
Man,
but,
no, no, no. Even if you're not married, you don't have to be married. But like, if this is not,
Oh, serious relationship? Yeah, I'm in a serious relationship right now.
no, 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 no. I mean, is she on your team? Like,
Yeah, she on my team. I've learned a lot from Metalsphere. Right now, she wouldn't be around if she wasn't.
well, what I was saying too is one of the things that you can do in
Y'all
the
niggas done taught me a lot
one of
for
the things
real.
you can do in a program is if you get within 10 months of a payment. So let's say you get to the point where you're 10 months left, 10 more payments left, and the car is done, then that bill doesn't count. And that counts for all the other bills. So it's stuff like that, and you have to work through. It's just cleaning people's shit up. That's all it is. And
but
And they would just
here's
help
my
you get a
thing though.
loan without a down payment, and basically they
yeah,
look
and you
at
go
what
and
you're
you
paying in
and they
rent.
tell you what you need to do. They tell you what you need to do, what it is based on your situation, what you need to fix in order to move to the next step. That's all. That's really
Okay,
what
because
it is.
the guy I talked to at work, he said they have like a seminar that comes around. I got to look online and see when
Yeah.
the next
And
seminar is coming.
yeah, that's all it is in the seminar. The seminar is the first step. Then you pay it's like a $50 like annual fee. And basically you get because that pays for the counselors and then the counselor tells you what you need to do. It's very clear on what you need to do, and trust me, it's gonna probably be a lot easier than what you think it is.
But look
Okay,
at
I'm
it
gonna
from
look
this.
into that. As soon as shit gets better, I'm doing that ASAP.
But look at it from this perspective, right? To get a multi,
They don't deal in
two,
multi-family dollar homes, by the way.
Yeah, I don't.
but they might know because think about it. Between 2 and 4 units, still considered a residential dwelling.
No, they actually have it in the book, but at least for the national
Oh,
program. Yeah, they
oh.
got
Well, I
that
mean,
in there.
but
But
that's
no,
something to think about. That's something to think about for other because there may be other programs that have that actually cater to first time home buyers who don't have a down payment. So that's something
no,
to think
you're
about as
right.
well.
And then you live in there, and then the other unit, you absolutely right. And
And,
you good.
and then here's the thing, Edward. Right? This is why this is so important because when I went to buy my property, right, you have to qualify for that property outright. So like when I bought my property, it already had people already were renting the property, but
Mhm.
I can't count their rent payments as income. So I have to be able to pay the mortgage by myself. But now that I own the property, if I ever decide to refinance or I decide to buy another property, now I can count
Kind of that income.
75% of the rental income as my own personal income.
See, I thought
Yeah.
that was different. I thought when you buy a multifamily home, they can you the bank projects what the income would be, and you count that as your income
Nope,
before you even
nope,
buy
not
it.
when you initially buy it. When you initially buy it, whatever the cost of that property is, you have to
gotta
be
pay on
able to
top.
cover the mortgage, and they go back months. They don't go back just 2 months. They go back months. They actually pull like your tax records. They actually,
Huh.
they have to take an account of every asset, all my bank accounts, how much money I had in my accounts. They went through everything with a fine tooth comb. They actually called my job, my HR. They had to validate that I actually made that much money, that I was actually employed there for that period of time. Like, so you have to be able to pay the mortgage. But you just got to get in the property. Once you get
Yeah, but
in that property, because see, the thing about it is that if I have bought a regular home
Mhm.
and that was $4,000 a month, 5,000, whatever amount of money a month mortgage payment. Now, if I decide to buy another property after that, now that's counted as an actual cyclic debt.
Yeah.
And so now it's going to affect my ability to
But
purchase another property.
Super Trish, one thing you have to recognize when you do this, like not everybody's in your position making the money you are. Like some people, like as for me right now, I understand the value of buying multifamily homes because I've owned one before. I also understand the headache in it. But as of right now, I'm just trying to get a single family home where I can have my kid.
That exactly. That's no, and Super Trick, you're absolutely right. I mean, you're right. Both of y'all are right. I mean, it just depends on what type of situation you're in. I mean, but you
Well,
also have people that like drive trucks and they don't think about what you're thinking about. You know,
my only point is that it's easier to buy a multifamily first and then buy a single family home second. But trying to buy a family home second, yeah, you get the single family home, but now you're not gonna be able to get the multifamily home down the line because now you got that debt. So
It's harder to become an investor, is what you're saying, once you already have
but
a
that's
debt
and
on
see
you.
that. But see, here's the thing. This is where you get smart, and this is what I say. See, a lot of times, this is where I look at family members. That's why it was important to put my mom in a fucking house first because see, she got 3 sons, and I'm the oldest. So
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, you do that, and then I can be in her house, and then help get that shit set off while I'm getting my shit straight. And then now you looking at it from a family wealth standpoint. You see what I'm
But
saying?
Edward, that's funny because you say that, but that comes from, and you've even said this before, that comes from what other groups do, which blacks don't do, and you have to convince black people to be able to get that mindset. I tried doing that with my brother just a couple months ago. I was like, look, bro, you just came here, you just got out the military, you just broke up with you just had a divorce. Come stay with me. You can help me. We can help each other, and we can move on. But he couldn't do that, and I even asked my nephews to do that with me. Like, let's all come together as a family unit and make moves like everybody else does, because that's where the economy is leading now. Where if you're not making $100,000 a day, $100,000 a year, you have to, kind of work as a group to make it.
No,
And
you right, and it's
I seen a
sad.
lot of
And
people at my job do that. Talked to this Mexican guy. He lives with his mom and his girlfriend. They all live together. Everybody's living together. But black people, we have to live on our own because we have this world view where we have to do everything
Well,
on our own.
what it is niggas are much. Well, I ain't saying this is your family member. I'm just talking about in culture. Culturally, black men are much more comfortable living. See, you talk about living under a bitch. They'll be cool with that.
but
And
see, here's the thing, Edward. For us as black men, a lot of times we feel as though that we have to display, this aura of independence in order to
prove
resonate with
something. We have to prove something.
exactly. And so, because the first thing women ask you is, well, who you stay with. I mean, that was a question I used to get. So, like when I was younger, I remember I was like that was like one of my main motivators. Unfortunately, I was motivated by women. Like, I got to get my own spot because that's the first question they always ask me: who you stay with? I'm like, once I get my own spot, it's on and cracking. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like even me, like, okay, I mean, it's guys that I work with, or not necessarily I work with, but yeah, some of the guys I work with, like, these guys is making $400,000 a year, and they live at home. These Indian guys,
Right? I seen. Oh my
they
God, I
making
saw that.
$400,000 a year, and they live at home with their parents, and don't give a fuck either. Like they're not embarrassed about it. Like,
But
and
they're not even doing it in vain. They're doing it and making moves off of it. You can see the moves
exactly.
they're making with it.
Well, that's where. But see, that's that fake bullshit. That's what it's. Yeah, man. I mean,
But it's like the men understand this, the women don't, and because black men are so driven by the women, not the. That's what I'm hoping. Excuse me for being super optimistic. I'm hoping this wakes black women up a little bit to the real, like, because I'm saying I know people right now that still hasn't even stocked up
well,
on
not
nothing.
American black women get it. That's another thing too. So, and not all of them do, but it's when you just gotta start changing your options. Like I said, you don't gotta necessarily change your race to change your options. I'm not saying all American black women don't get it, because I can give you a list of black women. No, man, I'm out here. This pollen is
I'm hoping more gets it. I'm hoping more gets it.
Pollen. You got that COVID-19. Edward, what's going on?
nigga.
Yo, but Edward, I want to get one thing straight with you, bro. Like, love you to death. Been fucking with you ever since I heard you on BGS. But I like when I was young, I was a super simp. Like I know you say I make black men look bad, but I did that to
Oh, I
Nigerian
was
girl.
saying that.
We actually know, and that's cool. I'm not even taking no beef about it, man. I've been, I got a page called Archer, the first small dick activist. I don't give a fuck what y'all think, but like I had a Nigerian girl. We were married, and basically she started stripping. Like we were not making a lot
You
of money.
make it sound like she just came home one day and said, "This is what it is."
No, I had to catch her ass, man. I went up in the strip club. I went to King of Diamonds. I got a fight with the bouncer. Yeah, so it was crazy. But then again, thinking back, I was a simp back then. I was like, she's my first time, her first. Like I didn't want nobody to see her type shit. Like nobody see her naked type shit. Like I could have, man. If I wasn't some bread pill shit, I could have just played the hoe and just made money off her. But I was on some simp shit.
No. Hold up. But let me just stop you right there. To not want your wife to being seen naked by other guys is not being a simp.
But it was deeper. It was deeper than that. I was like, I wasn't playing it right. It was, just the way you were doing it. Like the way you do shit when you're first in love versus the way you do shit when you're over 30. Like it's just different. So yeah, that broke up that relationship. Then I had another relationship where we were good. We were together for 7 years. Around the fourth year, she just started blowing the fuck up, and I couldn't tell her shit. And she had all the support from her whole family, and I was beefing with her whole family about just getting her ass in the gym. And them talking about like, nigga, you ain't shit. You don't look good. Them trying to shame me back into place, and I've never been a nigga to sit in place. So like, no, I'm not going. So that broke us up. So it ain't like I just got two bitches pregnant and I just left them. So no, I had a 5-year relationship and a 7-year relationship with both my kids' moms. Basically my whole 20s and 30s. Shit. But yeah, I just wanted to make that clear.
I mean, it's that's a real gray area when people start talking about simps, and when you're talking about a guy that's married. Like, I'm not married, but if you're a married man, it's certain behaviors that you do for your wife that you can't really call being a simp, because that's your wife. You're married. Now, maybe there was a simp, in your decision making process about who to wife, but actually doing certain things for your wife doesn't necessarily make you a simp. It's when you start doing those things for women that aren't on your team. That's when
it wasn't technically what I was doing for her. It was just more about the way I view relationships in the world that made me a simp, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's the way I viewed the relationship I was in, the way I viewed the world at the time. And I realized I did a lot of things wrong based on that perception I had of relationships, and based on the perception I had of women, because I wasn't like that shit, because the shit she did caught me off. And I could have cut it off. I could have basically trained her, because she was we met when she was 17. I could have trained her, but I didn't know how, because I was a simp. You know what I mean? I did everything wrong because I was a simp.
It is what it is. It's what the country is. The simp maker. Hell on earth. But anyway, all right, man. I'm gonna need final words, because y'all been needing to lead. I've been needing to lead. This shit. As soon as we talk about business, this shit went from 30 to 5. You know how this is why you niggas ain't shit. But yeah, that coronavirus is showing everybody the emperor has no clothes.
Man.
It need the
All
blood.
right, Edward, man.
Yo, gas is down. The simp market is down. So the price of pussy, the bitches wouldn't take $40 then. You'll take that shit now. Anyway, yo, other niggas, all them niggas in your phone is unemployed. So the fuck you gonna do?
And I tell you what,
You better earn
I
that tip.
I know,
Oh.
I know, I know. I've been getting, my phone been blowing up.
Mm.
Uh, with women. Um, especially it really shocked me. This Mexican chick. We kind of had a falling out like a year ago, or maybe it was 2 years ago. I don't know. It's been a while. With all of a sudden, she trying to holler at me, and it's like, damn, like this is the last person I thought. I mean, this coronavirus is really kicking in, man.
I don't even know what we were fighting about. Do you remember?
It's crazy.
I still remember.
You get them texts like, "Hey, big head," or like them silly texts like we don't talk. Why you texting me all of a sudden?
Yep, and then you get a picture back of the raid spray. That's how I
Yeah,
do. That and the
yeah,
Simon Phoenix smile. I know why you bitch. But yeah, it's and they really but like I said, women can always go back to hoeing.
yeah. But me, ain't a damn thing changed, for me. So I'm not. But just in closing, I want to say, shout out to what's his name? No, what's his name again?
Ooh, Archer.
Yeah, Archer. I'm sorry. Yeah, Archer. Shout out to Archer. Best of luck to him. As far as like, uh, what you do with your money, it's always, that's always your business. But there really isn't necessarily a specific path that is the only right path. I advocate, particularly for people in our community, to look at investing in multifamily because um, uh, you want to look at not only wealth building but residual income. Um, and real estate,
Yeah.
just live somewhere to live is something that's going to be a continuous need, in perpetuity. So that's just something to think about, and you want to position yourself where you can do it because if you go to single family home route first, it's exceedingly more difficult to go back and then try to do a multifamily unless you hit a lick. So that's just something to think about. But again, there is no wrong answer. As long as you buy low and sell high, or you buy low and you just hang on to it, you can't go wrong. So the key is just buy low. And so now you're coming into an opportunity to buy exceedingly low. Just make sure you're positioned to actually take advantage of the circumstances. I mean, it's sad that some people have to, suffer, but they're gonna suffer regardless because of the choices that they made. So just make sure you make the right choice. Um, and 4 or 5 years from now, you're gonna be looking back and glad you made the decision you made. So that's all I gotta say about that. Shout out to you, Edward. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, man, much appreciated. As far as my final thoughts is, I deal in digital marketing, and like I said, there's always opportunity, and a lot of times y'all need to stretch a little bit to make shit happen. If shit doesn't seem like it can happen now, and trust me, I have to look at doing that myself, like for real.
Oh, Edward,
Uh,
real quick.
yeah,
Your birthday in November, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Well, November what?
second,
November
right
2nd. Okay,
around
I'm
election time.
I'm November 9th on election day.
Oh shit! See, I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
on
yeah.
election day 2004. So, oh yeah. So I always have a joke. I say either way, I'm gonna be drinking.
And
But
we
that's
need,
enough.
we need to
But
take a November trip to one of these countries. You know what I'm saying? And actually do a stream like and look and give a real unbiased assessment of what's really going on in one of these countries.
yeah, yeah, we gotta you gotta ask Miss Corona first if it's gonna be okay to go.
Yeah, yeah.
Who?
Well, hopefully this stuff will be cleared up by the middle of summer.
Oh, if they start fucking up like the Thanksgiving, not Thanksgiving, they start fucking up Thanksgiving and start fucking with the holiday season. Oh, America's done.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna really see some shit then. You're gonna really, because that's gonna psychologically fuck people up. See, I ain't even getting to all of that. But that'll be on another day. So anyway, man, with that said, peace out. And for all y'all that stuck with us the whole time, peace.
Peace.
Uh-huh.